Hello, Dad. Hello, Mum. How are you?
How are you?
Hey.
Very good. So, have you got any idea why you were here today?
Well, the other day I got ill, and I saw that it was your business that you have. So I'm kind of wondering why I've been receiving it.
Well, we've sent you some Goats Elite. Now, just to let you know, we've got to be careful with the words we use because this is being recorded and we are going to share this with our social media if that's okay. And I can see you looking all smart in your football Queensland jersey. I love that. Dad even looks like he's had a haircut and everything. This looks great.
Mate.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the occasion.
I haven't. I came home from work and I'm exhausted.
So, I'm going to tell you what this is all about, but before I do, I need you to help everyone watch and tell them a little bit about your story. So, when did you first meet us and how did you first come across us and what involvement did you have with us, if you can remember?
I met you guys through Euro Football Star.
Yeah.
When I was around 12 or 13.
And how old are you now?
I'm 15 now.
Well, you get really old, aren't you?
Yeah, getting on in my days. And I'm pretty sure you guys had like a little clinic day.
Trial day, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, at the Gympie Fields for a Euro trip overseas to England.
Yeah, so we went up to that amazing soccer club up in Gympie, and I think it was Nate and the guys who got us in there. I think Nate was their vice president at the time, and we run an amazing event, and you were one of the players who were identified to come to the UK with us on like a tour and trials.
Yep.
And when was that? What year was that?
Oh, that would be like 2022 or 2023.
23.
2023 it was, yeah, to tour 2023. So talk about, to everyone who's listening, you obviously went on trials, you come with us to the UK, you experienced England for the first time. What was it like going to England and seeing all the big Premier League clubs and teams? And
I loved it because I've always wanted to travel overseas and play football. And I really got to experience that. We did training over there at different facilities. We stayed at hotels next to stadiums, went on tours. The games that we played were really good for development, and they were really good because you got identified by coaches around. And it was just a great experience all around.
so when you come back to Australia after that experience, did you find that it sort of deflated you, or did you feel like motivated to go for it?
My goal was to play over there in like the academies in Arsenal.
Yeah.
So when I came back after being over there and versing Bolton and seeing the level, I really got motivated to push on and try and strive for that goal.
I will just confirm that before she even got home, so we had 2 weeks after as a family, and all she talked about was football. We had to go to the football shop there and buy a soccer ball. And by the time she went home, instead of doing 12 juggles, she was up to 50 juggles because she was so determined she was going back.
Yeah.
Now, I always say to the players who we come across, people always laugh at me when we go to places like Geelong, Gympie, areas of Western Australia, but I always say we always find our best players in the remote areas of anywhere, whether it's the USA or Australia. I think you guys will remember, but we had a boy who had found the year before from a place called Stanthorpe, and Jack Reedy was driving into us 3.5 hours, 3 times a week to train with me. And you guys are so committed, and I think it's a testament to Mum and Dad as well, how much they've helped you as well.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is I want you to update everyone. For people who aren't from Australia, can you tell everyone like what happened after you come back, who you played for, who you're representing now, what does Queensland mean? And then I believe there's something else you want to share with us as well, because I heard there's something bigger than Queensland as well.
Start at the beginning.
When I got back, I had the goal to make the Sunny Coast region, which is where I was living currently, which I achieved as the first keeper. And we went away to New South Wales, which is below us, and we played a tournament there, which we were identified as, and I made the Schoolgirls Queensland team. So that was the really first milestone that was my only goal for the year. I I was quite accomplished with that, and I was happy with myself. And then we continued the season. I played for the Sunshine Coast Wanderers, which was my not local, but where I went to school.
Yeah.
And we won premiers and the grand final. And then I got identified as a player for QAS, which is the Queensland Academy of Sport. So they're the representatives for Queensland, and they play in the NPL, which is our National Premier League in Queensland.
Yeah.
And I got identified there. They signed me up to their club, which then I got notified from the Raw after they watched one of my sessions that they would like me to come in. And Brisbane Raw is the A-League club that plays with our A-League for the women. So I've been training currently with them once or twice a week.
Plus with QAS.
Plus my QAS training. And then quite recently, I've been invited to go to a Junior Matildas domestic camp where we had 2 international friendlies versus Thailand, where I made my international debut on the 70th minute.
Amazing. So you've actually played for Australia?
Yes, I have.
Oh my word. And what was that like? What was that experience like?
It was extremely good. I got to meet, like, obviously the best for our age in Australia. We were all such a good bunch of girls. You could tell that when you get to a certain level, there's like a standard that you have to hold yourself to. But the coaches and like the whole staff were very like happy, and they wanted to learn individual development, which I found is quite good. We went down to Sydney and we played there against Thailand, and like the whole experience was just like phenomenal. We had so much team stuff to do. We had bonding activities. We learnt so much tactically and physically as players, all individually and as a group as well. So I think like it's something that I really want to strive to in the coming months for the next
Amazing.
year.
So what would be the next thing? So you play for Queensland, you've now played for Australia. What's the next and final goal?
The final goal is to play overseas.
For Arsenal?
For Arsenal, yeah. Yeah, and
just
go
a hint to Arsenal if they're out there.
and play for the Matildas in the 2032 Olympics. That would be phenomenal.
That would be...
The crazy thing, Ray, is
Yeah.
she got to play for Australia before she played for Queensland.
That's so funny, eh?
She went away for the camp with the Matildas, and then she come back, and just on the weekend, she played her first Queensland game.
Yeah.
It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully you guys can see my screen.
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing what I'm showing on my screen at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to load up another page. So let's see if this works. The magic of technology. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, first thing is I want to show everyone, and I hope you don't mind me sharing these, but I want to show everyone this picture.
Yep.
They're going to be embarrassed a little bit, but this is good. So people always ask me, Ray, why do you do what do you do? And this is the whole reason I do it. If I can help someone 0.1% along the way to achieving the dream, whether it's you've never seen the high level football and you want to achieve something big and you don't think it's possible, or whether I work with you as like a Jack Reedy, where you're working with me 4 times a week and I'm working with you one-on-one, but my aim and goal, my trophies that I love more than anything, it's seeing the picture of players going on and getting to the dream. Now, did you ever think 3 years ago you'd be pulling on a jersey for Australia?
No, I thought I was going to stay in Gympie and just play there.
At the beginning of the year, she set a 3-year goal, and that was to play for the Junior Matildas in that 3 years. And she basically smashed all those targets in 1 year.
6 months.
So
Yeah.
it's been a very crazy year. I must say she's a goalkeeper too. She's not an on-field player, so they're a mixed person.
Yeah, and it's the hardest position to play.
Very mental.
I'll be honest, as you both know, but no one watching this might know, but I'm a dad of 2 daughters, full-time on my own with them, and it's hard. And I think two of the hardest things I think in sport in general. One is to be a girl, because you
Yeah.
don't get favoured upon like boys do, and it's even harder to be a goalkeeper. So
Yeah.
I think you've took on the biggest challenge, one being born a girl, and the second thing being a goalkeeper, and you've defeated it. But the reason why you've defeated it is because you went to England, you've seen what was possible, you've come home, you've set yourself a vision, and as Mum just said, you give yourself 3 years to do it, but you've done it in like 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
That is a testament to setting your dream as high as possible. And you know
Yeah.
what? You might not have ever played for Australia, but at least you might have played for Queensland and QAS, and at least you've aimed for something and you've met it.
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah, anything's possible for like any of the girls. It's possible as soon as you put your mind to it and you're willing to push towards it.
now, obviously, I've got a couple of things for you, but before I show you a couple of things, I want to show you what we've got for you. Anyone watching this who doesn't believe it's possible and thinks it's all just fanciful dreams, and no one from Gympie or no one from Logan or no one from Brisbane could ever go and play at this level, what do you say to them?
I would say just dream big. I've noticed, especially since I came back from England, I had a goal to set and I was just dedicated to hit it. And I've noticed that since England, I've gotten 10 times better because I just so want to be an Australian player and play at the highest level and show young girls out there that like anything is possible as a girl.
Yeah, I love it. And what about you, Dadam? And what do you say to all those parents who are sceptical if this is real or not?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, the Euro trip to England was the perfect start for her career. It made her mindful of where she wanted to go. A lot of people put those sort of trips at the end of or during a good year or whatever, but we did it at the beginning of her career, just to see if that would be her motivation, her leaping forward, her goal setting, which is probably the best thing we could have did. You know?
So this was her 4th year of playing soccer. So when we went on the Euro trip, it might sound like, oh, you know, she was that age, but she'd actually been playing for like less than 18 months when we went on to that trip. And so it was a massive deal, like a big commitment from us as family to do it, but never looked back. Honestly, she just, from there, she grew and grew. And it's just, to me, she's an amazing young person. I don't take any credit. Yes, I drive hundreds and hundreds of kilometres, but, you know, there's not many kids who get up at 4 a.m. because their training's at 7 in Brisbane, and which is 2.5 hours away, turn around, come back, go to school, come home and do it all again the next day, and sometimes have to train after school as well. So, all these things have culminated. Great commitment on her behalf, good start, good choices. If you want advice, talk to someone like Ray, because honestly, they're the people that know how to help young people get there. So,
yeah, thanks, guys. And as I say, I always say that it's like a triangle in this, and we've got to get it right, and it's got to be the player, it's got to be the parents, and it's got to be like the coaches or the team behind it, and it's a 3-point pyramid. And if you don't have that support, it's very hard to make it. And you've definitely got mum and dad. You've definitely got the support of me and the other professionals around you along the way. But you've got to turn up every day. And this is what we say to our players. Like, you've got to turn up and you've got to be motivated. And you know what? Some days it's okay not to be okay and not want to train. That's okay. But you've got to turn up 95% of the time. And it's a testament to you. So the first thing I want to share with you, but can you just show us the package that you got and what's in it?
So I got a goat's packet delivered in the mail, and inside you get gifted with a packet of grip socks.
Yeah.
There's free inside the packet. They're a beautiful colorway. They have the logo on it, and the grips are very nice. And I am really looking forward to trying them on and giving them a go on the field.
Very good. Now, what we are going to share with you, and I'll reshare my screen again. On our partnered companies. So Goats Elite, we've set up Goats Elite as a company
Yep.
to sell products. And the reason why we're selling products on here is to put the money back into be able to offer opportunities for players who we think are worthy of a scholarship. So the first thing we've got for you is for the next 2 years, Goats are gonna sponsor you for $5,000. So what that means is over the next 2 years, we're gonna give you socks, boot bag, stools, books, socks, breathing tech work, slides, anything you want off here, we're going to sponsor you for 2 years. So if you say, Ray, I need gear, I need shin guards, I need this, I need that, we'll give it to you. Also, you'll probably notice there's nothing on here that relates to your position. And you play in what position?
I play goalkeeper.
So we're going to make a limited edition pair of goalkeeper gloves in your name with your permission. And what we're going to do is we're going to send them around the world and we're going to sell them and we're going to put your name on. But on top of that, we're going to give you a percentage of the sales to donate back to players who deserve to be sponsored. How does that sound?
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
So we've been looking at some goalkeeper gloves over the past couple of weeks and we want you to be involved in that. So what we want you to do is we want to get you to come and meet with me one day. I'll either come to you or you come to me or we'll meet in the middle.
Yep.
And I want you to help me build the gloves. What's important to you in the gloves? Where the grips need to be.
Yep.
I'm sure you found loads of problems with gloves over the years and some good things with gloves.
Yeah.
You're going to be involved in the whole design process and we're going to give it a really cool name like the Alicia GK gloves or something like that. We'll come up with a name and we'll allow you to help us. Now, the special bit of help we're going to do with the gloves is the gloves will be for both males and females.
Yeah.
We're going to give you 10% of the earnings to put towards sponsoring other players and we're going to let you pick female players every year who get the awards and get the money.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
Thank you so much, Ray.
I'm not finished yet. This is the best bit. That's only the small bit. The next bit's the best bit. So if I can take you to my next page, and let's see if I can get this right. And you know what? I'm always super organised and I had all this ready and then I just realised my page is cleared. So we have a programme called the Professional Player Pathway.
Yeah.
As you know, we spoke to you guys, I think, at the time about joining us on the Pro Player Pathway. And obviously for financial reasons and many other reasons, not every family can join us. But part of the programme is we look at things like you get a copy of my book, the audio book, you get match analysis, you get GPS trackers, you get nutrition and DNA testing, you get identified match objectives, you get football blueprints, you get football mental strength training, you get the secrets from the Premier League, you get to join me on weekly calls, you get access to the dugout, and one of the big things is as a player agent, you get me to represent you as well. Now, to join the Triple P, unfortunately, it is expensive and it's about $60,000 for 4 years.
Yeah.
However, you're going to be our first player for 2025 that we're going to award a full scholarship to.
Wow. That's crazy.
So I'm going to support you as best as I can as a coach. I have got a lot of experience with goalkeepers as well as outfield players.
Yeah.
I will completely help and represent it, and the way we do it as well to put mum and dad at ease. When we represent players, we're the only group on the planet that don't get mums and dads and players to sign into agreements or contracts. We actually do it from the goodness of our heart and we don't expect you to sign anything. We just want to support you. If we're not doing our job, then you guys can walk away at any point and there's no risk on your side. But I know for a fact, between you, me, mum and dad, we're going to kill this. And not only are we going to get the Australia gig, the #1 position secured in time for the upcoming World Cups in the next couple of years, but I also think you're going to hit your #1 dream and I'm going to help you to see if we can get you to Arsenal. And we'll see where we go. So if it takes us a year or takes us 3 years, we'll try our best to get there. And you know what? If we don't get to Arsenal, we might get you to somewhere better like Liverpool.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to onboard you to the system. I'm going to speak to dad and mum on a message later on tonight.
Yeah.
We'll get you onboarded to the system. We need to get you involved in the program. I need to arrange your GPS tracker. I need to arrange your match analysis. I'm personally going to do your match analysis as well to make sure it gets done right. And then what we're going to do is, with mum and dad's permission, over the next couple of years, what we're going to do is, on this part of the section, we have what's called testimonials. Now, we've got players on here like Charlotte, who we got from the Liverpool Football Club. We've got Liam, who we've got to play Bolton Wanderers. We've also got people like Jacob, who we recently got to Tranmere Rovers. And we're going to, very excited to announce, we've got an Alicia section. So we're going to be chucking an Alicia section. So this particular testimonial will get dropped in here, but also we're going to get you to really help us with the females. Now, we know your time is very tight and you've got school commitments and you've got training, but what we're going to do is, if we can get you a couple of times a year to join us on a call, especially with the female players, it'd be a big help for some of those younger girls who need help around the world.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to the World Cup in 2026, the Men's World Cup, but we'd love you to be part of some of our live crossovers back to Australia. So we will have a little Alicia section with your goalkeeper gloves and with your girls section, and just to have a general catch-up we're going. So how does that all sound?
That sounds so good, right? This is probably the best thing that's happened to me in my whole career.
So hopefully we can just be that extra little 5% difference to help you kick on.
Yeah.
And I think I've got a couple of more surprises up my sleeve, but I'm going to save one of them. And I'll deliver it once we can deliver it 100%, and then I'll be back in touch. And if you know you get a call in the next couple of weeks to come on another call, expect some big news.
Okay, thank you.
Well, this
Thank
is
you
big
so
news.
much.
I don't know that you can top that, Ray. That's
I think I can top this one.
you know, even talking about the gloves and stuff, you know, one of the hardest things is finding gloves that are suitable, like made for a girl.
Yeah.
The fingers are smaller and
Yeah.
you know, very different. So yeah, it's very exciting.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be one of the first companies to make gloves just for girls, but we're also going to do a male's version, but we're not going to put a boy's name on them. It's all going to be the Alicia range.
Yeah.
But we'll come up with a cool name for them. And you can help us with all the money that we raise from the sales. You can help us direct that money into girls. So I'm going to meet with you, mum and dad, once or twice a year, and we'll go, right, we've got these 10 girls who need help. Who should we help and where should the money go? And then we'll do one of these calls. And next time, rather than me doing it to you, you can sit next to me and we can make the call to one of the players.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome.
And we'll keep spreading the love.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so that's enough for you guys to take in for one day.
Yeah.
What I will do is, Alicia, I'll get you to go to our Goats Elite website. I'll share the link with Dad. You can have a little look at the Goats Elite website and you can pick some stuff off there. So if you think in the interim, Dad, Mum, I'd love to get more socks. I want to get some of the shin guards. I want to get the boot bag. I want to get some breathing strips. You tell me what you need, we'll get you loaded up. And then what we do is, every time something starts to wear out or it's a bit worn, and I know you goalkeepers love to dive in that around, and I think you're going to love the shin guards.
Yeah.
Because the shin guards are very sort of like tight fitting on your leg. They'll stay compact. And then, all you need to do is tell me when you want stuff and we'll send you a code. And you literally order the stuff and it'll turn up within about 3 to 5 days to your front door.
Yeah. Thank you.
So wait there, you're a Socceroos player international and you're sponsored. Nah, that's not possible. Gail can't do that.
And you know what the worst
Girls
part
can do
is? She's under 16, so she can't put like stuff on social media. So she's gonna have to be proactive on mums or something.
Yeah.
Well, mums and dads can send what they want and share what they want and
That's
spread
right.
what they want. So that's how I'm getting around it with my girls. And it is a tricky one with the social media, because we've got a lot of players who join us on our platform who are under 16.
Yeah.
But obviously they have to have mums and dads logging them in and stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think if it's monitored properly and mums and dads are protective of the kids and know what they're doing, I think it's a safe environment. But
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, I think we've got to protect them as best as we can. But now, look, a big thank you, Alicia, and I was so excited when I seen that picture with the Socceroos jersey, and I'm like, onwards and upwards for you.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah.
It all started with you,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, I'm so glad we come up to Gympie, and
Yes.
we did have a battle to get up there without going into the politics, but there was a lot of people at the club who really wanted us up, and there was one or two people who tried to stop us.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we persisted, and this is unfortunately the politics and tall poppy syndrome we have in Australia. And I'm a proud Australian. I've been here 19 years, even though my accent's a bit different. But
That's all right. We're English in background, so
Yeah, we do get it, yeah.
Well, yeah, we get past the politics and the tall poppy syndrome, and I never take no for an answer. And I'm glad we did come up, and I'm glad we got it started. And yeah, you're one of our next success stories, and I'm super excited.
I'm very excited for the year.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to love yous and leave yous. I
you,
will be in touch, Dad. I'll drop you a message with the link for the website so she can order some stuff.
Yes.
And I'll send you you need to send me your email address for Alicia, the one that you're comfortable that she can connect the app to.
Yes.
And then you got a lot of work to get started on for me, because I'm going to be up here to get certain things done, and we'll get you cracking.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
good.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Cheers, guys. I love you all. See ya.
Yeah,
See
thank
ya.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas too.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Well, I wasn't like, I thought I was a very good player, and I felt like I wasn't getting the coaching that I was wanting, and so I contacted yourself to see what opportunities that I could possibly get with the pro player pathway, and it's gave me many to come over here and trial for many clubs, and I've got now playing for one of them.
It's very good, mate. Yeah, so your dad is like most parents who reach out to me. They just want to check if what you're actually doing is the right pathway, and if the route that you're going down is the right way. And it's not a surprise to me when I get mums and dads reaching out saying, look, we actually think he or she's better than the opportunities they're getting given, but we keep getting given these bits of information and feedback, and maybe why he's not playing in the men's top team or why they're not playing in the women's top team. And the conversation, I think for your dad and for your mum at the time, it's probably a hard one, because you don't want to interfere with your kids' game, but also you want to make sure that you're getting a right go. And you're not the first. We've had hundreds of players who've come through the program who are in similar situations to you. And we'll touch on it very quickly now about how it's all turned for you. But one of the big problems from anyone who is in our school community in Australia and the USA, the majority of our players, you have to pay, don't you, Jacob, to play football? So mum and dads are paying it. And it's not just a couple of $100s. I mean, give us a bit of a guesstimate. Do you know what mum and dad used to pay for you to play NPL football a season, roughly?
$3,000 and $3,500. Yeah, $3,500 for the year. Yeah. So
that's a lot of money, and obviously you're paying that types of money. You want to make sure you're getting a good return on it, don't you? But thankfully, obviously, Dad reached out, and I actually spoke to your parents, and we got you in, and you come and had a meeting at our office just under 2 years ago. And I don't think you've looked back. And I think the good thing with what you've done is you've followed everything that was said to you, and your mum and dad just grabbed it with two hands and run with it and supported you. So we go back from probably frustrations of not feeling like you were getting a proper chance in Australia and not giving a go. But I always say it comes down to education as well. There's not enough for me people in the game who've got runs on the board. And what I mean by that is they've actually been there, done it, and got a t-shirt at the top level. So it's really hard to take sort of feedback from those type of people. And then especially when you're paying $3,000, $4,000. So roll on 18 months, 2 years later, you're now living in Liverpool. You're playing your football with a couple of teams. So give us the name of one or two of the teams you play your football with.
So I mostly play my football with Tranmere Rovers, like youth academy, basically. It's like a college, but it's based around like the academy level, playing like teams that are at the academy level and like those cup games as well. So I train with them Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And my games are mostly on the Wednesdays. And I like do my learning there as well. So I get my my coaching qualifications as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and great standard of football. I'm enjoying it so much as well. I'm also playing for an under-23 side near where I live for Walton. And I also play for an under-21 side Nantwich on Sundays as well. Yeah.
That's crazy. So it's quite funny. I think a lot of people, it'd be quite alien for people in Australia and the USA to say, wait there, how is he allowed to play for so many teams? And because what they don't understand is in England and in Europe, it's all about the player and about development and giving them opportunities. So you're allowed to cross-pollinate across many clubs to get football, and more football means you're going to get better at football. And this is one of the things that we try and impress, especially here in Australia, that they think by doing 3 sessions a week in the NPL on a game of a weekend, and you're on track to making it as a Champions League superstar, and you couldn't be any further from the truth. Yeah. So it's so good to see that, like, you've transitioned from being in that environment of 2 to 3 sessions a week to all of a sudden, your dad told me the other day that, you know, you're probably doing about, jokes aside, about 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
which we're going to have a little look at the moment. But just to touch on very quickly, so the highlight so far since you've been back in England is obviously not just playing for Tranmere, but playing for teams like Walton, but also just explain to them, can you tell everyone what your age is as well, Jacob?
Yeah, so I've turned 18 like last month. And yeah, I've played there for like 1.5 years now, probably. So when I started when I was 16, and I've grown massively, I feel like, in my footballing ability, especially as well. And yeah.
Now, one of the big things is there's been a couple of players lately you've probably seen, especially I think in the Champions League. I think for Arsenal the other night was Darwin, who made the debut in the Champions League at 15, turning 16. And it's like people don't get, like, if you're not being challenged and if you're not getting that challenge playing physically up with older players, then you're not going to get better. And that's one of the big problems that we've got here in Australia, but I also see in the USA, is this age relative effect where they're not allowing players to play up. Now, you're currently playing in under 23s, you know, you're training in with men, you play. Do you find that is making your game better, or do you think it's making your game worse, being able to play up with stronger players?
Yeah, 100%. I think I'm getting a lot better by playing against men and stronger players. It, like, not only does it like help my physicality, it also helps me like protecting the ball compared to whenever I'm playing against my own age, because it's a lot stronger in there and you got to like win more. Like, it's harder to win headers, so you get to experience that against men as well. So yeah, I get a lot better playing against men, 100%.
It's one of the things that we discovered many years ago when it was, I think it was around 2010, 2011. You would have only been 1 or 2 when I was working in the Premier League. And we discovered that actually playing in an environment where it's an absolute physical challenge. So as an example, you're 17, 18, you're playing against men. They're going to be physically faster, stronger. But in turn, what's got to get better is your touch and your technical ability. And if you know you're not as fast as that guy next to you, you know your touch might be better than his. And what we actually discovered was when you're under what you call physical duress, which means you're struggling, technically your game will get better. Now, it can go the other way. You can sink like a ship, but most players will grab it with 2 hands and push on. Now, to finish off, before we actually start reviewing and having a little look, and we're going to showcase a little bit about the programme and the school programme, and I'm going to just reiterate, because I know you're super busy with all your sessions and games, but I just want to touch on your hours, and that was one of the areas of concern when I spoke to Dad, to make sure that if your hours are super high and you're going over the hours, we need to make sure your recovery is on point, and we're going to have a little look at that for you today as well. But before we do that, I'm going to roll off these names: David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, John Terry, Steven Gerrard, Wayne Rooney, Frank Lampard, and Jacob Burkhardt. What have they all got in common? What competition have they played in?
The FA Youth Cup.
They've all played in the FA Youth Cup. Now, I remember, and your dad, I remember this as well. I can remember watching the FA Youth Cup games when we were younger, because it was always a great way before the internet was around to see some of the up and coming players. And I can remember watching Michael Owen win the FA Youth Cup against Manchester United. And that was like the grounds where you would look to see players and stars coming through. So to go from, and I want to make sure you're aware of this, Jacob, because I think some players forget to do this as well. But I want to make sure, obviously, you owe it to your mum and dad a little bit as well, but to yourself, mate, to give yourself a huge pat on the back, because most players would have just give up on the football, but you didn't. You didn't listen to what they were telling you in Australia. And you've persisted, but also, mate, you're turning up every day, you're waking up every morning, you're hitting the training ground, and it's so easy for people just to jack it in. And I see a lot of 17 and 18-year-olds at the moment, mate, who are just comfortable with life, just sitting around, not doing much on the computers. So it's a testament to you, mate. But not only have you dusted yourself off and didn't take that setback in Australia, but you've now played in the FA Youth Cup. So can you just talk to us very quickly for a minute about who you played for in the FA Youth Cup, who you played against, and what the score was of the game?
Yeah, so it would have been 2 weeks ago on the Wednesday. I played for Tranmere Rovers against Harrogate Town under 18s, and we won 4-0 at Prenton Park, which is Tranmere's home stadium. And it was an unbelievable experience to play there underneath the lights. And yeah, I was so happy to play there and experience it as well.
So wait there, so you've gone from playing in the sunny coast in front of probably about 30 people and, with all respect, just a normal community soccer pitch, to playing in Prenton Park, which I think holds about 15 to 20,000, and you got to play there middle of the week under the lights, proper referees, linesmen. Yeah, so you must have pinched yourself when you come off that pitch.
100% I did, yeah. Can't believe it, yeah.
So what about the next round of the FA Youth Cup? Who've Tranmere got next? Have you got a big game?
Yeah, a very big game. We got Bolton at Prenton Park again, so I get to play there again, which I'm so excited about again. Love playing there. But it'll be a tough game because they're obviously an academy side that are very good and a League One side, but with better Bolton. And yeah.
So it's going to be a tough one, that, because I spoke to Dad about this, but me and your dads grew up with the gaffer at Bolton one, just Stephen Schumacher, and I know Shuey really well. He's still best mates with my younger brother, and hopefully you guys can turn over Bolton for us in the FA Youth Cup. That would be a good upset.
Hopefully, yeah.
Now we're going to get into your hours a little bit, Jacob, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to help you a little bit with your hours, and I'm going to probably only keep you for another 10 or 15. But thanks for that little bit of an intro. So what I'm going to do is, to begin with, for everyone else who's watching on our school community, we're just going to have a little look at Jacob's hours roughly, and we're going to see if we can help him with this. So I'm just hoping that you can see my screen okay there, Jacob?
Yep, I can, yeah.
So all I want you to do on this one is just give me a guesstimate really of your hours. So roughly on a Monday, training, what are your hours like on a Monday, and is there any games on a Monday?
No, it would just be training, so it'd be around like 10 to 11:30 about there, so like 1.5 hours on Monday.
Okay. So that's the only thing you do on a Monday? Do you do any gym work? Do you do any swimming, recovery?
Not really. It would more be like we'd do analysis for the game coming Wednesday.
Okay. And that goes for about, 60 minutes?
Yeah, about an hour.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Tuesday, what's your Tuesday look like?
So Tuesday would be more like a lighter session. It'd be like an hour, probably, from like 10:30 to 11:30.
And then anything else on a Tuesday? Any extra training, gym work, swimming?
It might be some gym work, like just rolling out, stretches, just getting yourself nice and loose, ready for the game the following day.
All right, Wednesday. So what's on a Wednesday normally?
Wednesday would be game day. So you got to prepare in the mornings, got to eat before, like 2.5 hours before, and then it'd be 90 minutes or somewhere near that for game day.
And then after the game, do you do anything after the game? Any post-activation, rolling off, stretching?
Yeah, I normally stretch out and roll off. Maybe take a bath at night as well. Epsom salts. Yeah, get some Tiger Balm on before I go to bed, especially
Cool.
just to, yeah.
Thursday?
Thursday would be, it wouldn't be any training. It'd be more of a recovery session. But I normally have training for Nantwich at nights, so that'd be like an hour.
So recovery with Tranmere would be about an hour on a Thursday, and then you train with Nantwich
At night, yeah.
for, say, what was it, an hour again?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Friday?
Fridays, it'd be training with Tranmere for like 90 minutes, yeah. And then it'll be an analysis as well from the game on Wednesday. So like what we could do better. And yeah, just really studying the pre-game.
And then anything Friday afternoon, Friday night?
No, nothing on Friday night. Just pretty much for recovery from Thursday's nights or Friday's training.
And then Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday would be game. So it'd be 90 minutes and then recovery afterwards. Yeah, sometimes I play for the reserves, so that'd be like 30 minutes sometimes as well on some Saturdays, yeah.
Okay. And then Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday would be also a game, 90 minutes as well.
Any recovery in there?
Yeah, it'd be recovery afterwards. I have to do a lot of recovery, especially with like 2 games on the weekend. Otherwise, don't want to get injured for the week for Tranmere.
So for anyone who hasn't seen it, I'm just going to share our school community screen, but you'll obviously probably be familiar with this, Jacob. But when we log into our school community, we have our community, which is our chat where everyone can come in and chat and ask questions to me or to other members. But also if we go into the classroom, it's quite easy to understand and explain. Now you'll notice we've got numbers, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it takes you through. There's also a how-to guide, which you can click on. So if you go into the how-to guide, all the videos are in there on what to follow. But probably the most important one, and this is what we're going to showcase for everyone, and Jacob's done this a couple of times with me, is number 12, is how many hours a week. So where this come out of was the EPPP project that I worked on and with the sports science team at Leicester City at the time. And we worked out that you should be roughly doing around about +1 year age up until about the age of 16, 17. And then it stops at 17, 18 hours. So obviously, because Jacob's 18 now, he should be doing roughly around about that 17, 18 hours a week. However, out of that 17, 18 hours a week, he should be doing 70% football. And then the rest should be all pretty much made up of recovery. So we're looking at roughly around about 11, 12 hours of football, and then the other 5 or 6 hours of recovery. So we'll have a little look. We'll just tot up some of the hours, and it's looking like he's probably going to be really on point. So at the moment, we've got roughly about 1.5 on a Monday, 1 hour, so it's 2.5 Tuesday, Wednesday. We're up to about 4.5 Thursday, 5.5 training, 6, 7, and then Saturday. So we've got roughly, so we're doing about 10.5 to 11 hours of football, which is great. And then the remaining time, we are looking at recovery, which is sat at roughly about 5.5. So I still think in there, believe it or not, you've still got roughly a deficit of about 1 hour to catch up on. So one of the things that you can do in that, my advice would be on those Saturdays and Sundays, you can, and I'll stop sharing this screen and bring you back onto the full screen. On them Saturdays and Sundays, what you can do is you can actually implement just a walk for half an hour. So let's say you finished your game at Tranmere and you've done your rolling off and you've done your post work. When you get home, have a light snack, because obviously it's important that you refuel after your game. But just having what we call a low heart rate zone, walk would be perfect. So for anyone who doesn't have one, you can get an Apple Watch, you could get an Android watch, just something that can record your heart rate. And the reason why this is so important, and I'll showcase this one to Jacob as well, and he's fully aware because we've been across this one before, but I'll just actually share my screen again. What we'll actually look for on here is we'll actually just show you guys the heart rate zone. So have you currently got a watch or some way of recording your heart rate, Jacob?
Yes, I got a Garmin watch.
Brilliant. So the Garmin's are really perfect. So what we're looking for is you'll notice on this screen we've got your heart rate zones. And for anyone who's not familiar with the different heart rate zones, what we're actually looking for on this right side, we've got zone 1 all the way to zone 5. So basically zone 5 means you're actually sprinting non-stop and you're nearly at your maximum heart capacity. Where we need Jacob to be for recovery, and for anyone doing recovery, we need you to be in zone 1, which is basically, so as an example, the best way to work it out, and as an analogy on there, it's 220 minus your age, and then equals your maximum heart rate. So to do it for Jacob, so we go 220 minus 18, it means your maximum heart rate roughly would be around about 202 beats per minute. Now, if we want to get you to 50 to 60% of that, if we want to have a look at 60% as a maximum, roughly your heart is going to be at about 120. So for Jacob to be in what's called recovery, we need Jacob to be in less than 120. So the reason why your watch is so important is because what we want you to do is, Jacob, when you're walking, you'll probably find that you won't want to walk slow. You'll want to walk at a decent pace. But if you look at your watch, you'll notice that maybe your heart rate's 130, 135. So that actually means you're in heart rate zone 2 or 3, which means you're working, which means you're not recovering. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So what we need to make you sure that you're doing is, and maybe you get this at Tranmere in your clubs or you don't, but what we need to make sure you're doing is, I would be super cautious. Make sure your heart rate's like 110 or below. Now, when you first do this, you do your 30-minute recovery walks. You can put your AirPods in, your headphones, and off you go. Now, you might go, this is too slow to walk, but that's the point of it. We want to recover your body. Now, what happens is something really strange starts to happen. Once you're in that zone 1 for 20 minutes or longer, you basically jump-started your body into recovery. Now, once you've jump-started your body into recovery, normally your body has to wait until your body goes asleep before it will start recovering properly. Now, the problem with that is you've also probably been eating a lot of food to replace all your carbohydrates, your proteins, and everything you need to start repairing. Now, if your body's got to worry about your digestive system and it's got to worry about recovering your body, the first thing it will do, it will panic and go, okay, I've got to recover the food first and get the digestive system going, because if I don't get going with the carbs and the protein, that's not going to help me recover overall. Now, sometimes by the time your body's finished doing that and you wake up, it's maybe only had a window of maybe 60 to 70 minutes to actually recover your body properly. Now, if you've already started recovering your body because you started your walk, then all of a sudden you're already ahead of the game when you go to sleep overnight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, true, yeah.
So for anyone who's trying to work out why Jacob, and you think maybe Jacob's a superhuman because he can do all these hours, it's because he is recovering probably 95% of the time really, really well. But there might be one area that Jacob might reflect on this, is that he's probably maybe not doing those 2 half-an-hour walks a week. But it's really important that you do them probably post your games. And because you play back-to-back games Saturday, Sundays, those 2 30-minute recovery walks for me would be game-changing. So you probably already feel fit, fast, strong. But I think if you're honest, Jacob, do you ever admit that sometimes in the week you do feel a little bit tired, a bit leggy every now and again?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And you probably, if you were to keep a diary as well, one of the things that we used to do in the Premier League, we'd get the players to keep a diary of when you're feeling tired, when you wake up, write a score down 1 to 10, 10 being you feel wide awake, full of energy, ready to go, 1 being like you feel like you just need to stay in bed for another 2 hours. So you can even do that. You can track a little tiredness diary for a week and then just look at it. And what you'll probably find is it's probably Monday, Tuesdays when you'll start to notice, and it's only when you record it that you'll actually look back over 4 or 5 weeks and go, wow, yeah, it is Monday, Tuesdays when I'm really struggling to get out of bed or when I feel a little bit leggy. So what you'll find is those recovery walks on the Saturday and Sunday are going to really help you. So look, mate, I'm super pleased. It looks like you're actually like, when I first spoke to your dad, I was worried that maybe you were doing too much. But I actually think your hours are absolutely on the money. I think you just need to add in, that extra 1 hour a week of recovery, not because you need to do more. I just think it'd be beneficial because you are playing 2 or 3 games a week. And the best way to become the better footballer for me, and your dad will probably contest to this, is the more you play, the better you get. I would rather play in matches than train. What about you?
Yeah, me too, to be honest, yeah.
Because just giving you the chance just to put everything to test constantly. So position-wise, Jacob, for everyone listening, what position have you played over the past couple of years, and where have the likes of Tranmere and that been playing you, and how are you finding that in the position?
Yeah, so I've been playing as more of an attacking midfielder these past year and a half, and I'm finding it brilliant. Just this year especially, I've been playing more of as like a double attacking midfielder now. So we play the same formation as the first team, getting us ready for if we were to step up. And it's more of a like winger type, like 10. So I'm getting like used to like the underlapping runs and the cutbacks for the fullbacks, crossing it in. And yeah, it's just a total new game compared to when I was in Australia.
That's unreal, eh? So just to explain it to everyone, so at Tranmere Rovers, you obviously train at like a different training centre from the first team, or are you at the same place as the first team?
We're at the same place, so but they're more on like the like first team type pitches, so it's a lot nicer, and we're like beside them on the Astro or on the grass beside them.
But on a day-to-day basis, you're telling me you're actually in and around the first team squad. You get to see the players on a regular basis. You get to see the gaffer.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So it must be unreal feeling for you, eh? Again, no disrespect, but coming from the sunny coast, trying to get games in the 18s at the NPL, so all of a sudden. But anyone who doesn't understand, Tranmere Rovers play in League 2, which is a few divisions below the Premier League, but they're all paid professionals, and the level is unreal. So what's the plans for the future, mate? Where next after Tranmere? What's the big dream? What's the big vision?
Yeah, probably just keep trying to get into that professional football, maybe even at Tranmere, train with them, hopefully, maybe sometimes. And if not, then I can always look at semi-professional and still try and make professional in the future.
That's brilliant, mate. It's so good. Well, have you got any questions at the moment, anything you're struggling with, or you're going along pretty good at the moment?
No, I'm going along brilliant, to be honest. I don't really have any questions, but thank you for the opportunity. It's great.
Nah, it's so good. It's so good, mate. Well, look, we'll definitely touch base again in the next couple of weeks, and obviously on that school community as well, you can reach out to us through there if you need to get hold of me. And everyone, welcome to the Raymond Wood podcast, where we break down exactly what it takes to go pro. From dreaming about being a pro footballer, but actually living it and how to make it. I'm your host, Raymond Wood. As you know, I work for UEFA as a player agent. I'm also a player progression specialist and the founder of the book Pro Player Pathway. And today, I like saying this, we've got a heavyweight in the world game of youth development, soccer and football, as we call it in Australia and the USA and further afield. Now, Brian, who we've got online, has spent over 20 years or more coaching football, including time at Leicester City, and developing players who've not only gone on to play for the Premier League, but also who've gone on for international recognition for teams like England. So we're going to get straight into it. So, Brian, you've been in the game. A big welcome to the podcast. You've been in the game for over 2 decades, from Leicester City to working with some of England's biggest talents. What first drew you into coaching, and what keeps your fire burning after all these years? Because I believe you've gone back again for a bit more coaching.
Well, to be honest, Ray, I sort of stumbled across it, really. I was, my son was playing for Glenfield United, which is a local club. And I was playing at a decent level myself. And let's just say the coach didn't really have any idea how to coach. And somebody just said, why don't you do it? And this was 30 odd years ago. And I just really enjoyed it. And I just seemed to get on with the kids and have a really good connection with the kids, which I think's paramount. So important to have a connection.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. And then my son didn't carry on. He actually went on to be a professional boxer. So basically then, 3 good friends of mine, Gary Swain, Jill Sanders, and Sir Jeff Brewster, as we call him, God bless him, and myself, started Alexton and New Parks Football Club in 1996. And it just grew, and then I just started doing all my badges. And then Leicester made a call, and that's where it started. 23 years I was at Leicester. I also worked for Umbro before that, coaching all around the Midlands. And as you know, I left Leicester finally after 23 years, moved to Cyprus to retire, and ended up doing one-on-ones, primary kid coaching, senior kids, set a girls' school up. It was absolutely flying, to be honest. And now I've come back to England, the wife wanted to come back, and I've started again here. In fact, I've had one this morning, just across the road here in Kirby Muxlow. And so, yeah, I just love it. I just enjoy it. I'm passionate. I like to think that the kids all enjoy it, and that's where I think my strengths are. I'm sort of work with the kids, but I'm on their level. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
It's funny you say about like personality and, you know, not only how to make it as a player, but how to make it as a coach. And one of the things that I've done over the years, and I think I learned from my time when I was with you guys at Leicester, was I would go for a coach all day long on personality over coaching badges, because if you don't have the rapport with the players, forget about it. And you know what? You probably remember this period of time, but it was around that 2010-11 when the E-Triple-P was coming in and the reforms. And they were trying to force everyone into all the coaching badges if you didn't have them. And I think it was a little bit misguided, because it's made me realise at the age of 46 now that some of my best coaches I've had work for me in Australia and the USA have been coaches with no quals, but are just absolute personalities.
Exactly. I mean, that's it in a nutshell, really, Ray. I mean, I never did do my A licence. John Rudkin actually asked me to do it. Tony Lochran asked me to do it. And I just said, no, I'm not interested. I said, I've got up to my B licence, and I've also got Mod 1, Mod 2, Mod 3 and all them. And I've got other things, psychology and all them things. But for me, it's just the personality. The kids need to enjoy what you do. They need to have fun. And they need to have a smile on their face. I mean, I play a game called Rush, and I obviously do it. I did the under-15s my last year before I left Leicester, and I played this game called Rush, and the kids loved it. And they used to say, Brian, can we play Rush? Can we play Rush? And now, you know, you may have a schedule, and you planned it to do this, this, and this. But I'd always let them play Rush, because they loved it. Chaos. But it was fun chaos. And that's, you know, for me, it's what's important.
I love that game. The first time I ever seen Rush was with David Clay, and I think it was Matt and Ads, and they showed it to me, and I've used it ever since. The kids all around the world love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun.
Now, talking about the Premier League pathway, obviously you've developed players who've gone on to the Premier League and England squads. But for you, Hooky, with all of your knowledge and experience, and I mean, if you were to put that in a bottle, you could sell it for millions of pounds. What separates those few who make it to the thousands that don't? What is it for you? What's the one thing, if you were to pin it on one thing?
Well, somebody said to me once, attitude, good attitude will get you a long way. Poor attitude will only get you so far. And if I take Keane Dewsbury, for instance, I remember at the old training ground coming down at 9 o'clock after a session. And I'd go in and get changed, or I might have a shower. And Keane was in the gym. Now, Keane at the time was about 18 years of age, I think. Very good player. I had him 2.5 years, I think I had him. And I went in and had a chat with him for ages in the gym, and he said, I just do it every night. He said, I'm determined. He said, because I'm so small in frame, and I've got to build up my strength and this, that, the other. And his determination was incredible, and his attitude to working hard was just unbelievable, and he just wanted to succeed. And you've got to want to succeed. You've got to be very selfish, I think, sometimes when you're playing in an academy. You've got to think about you and the team, but you've got to think about you. How am I playing? How can I help the team? And really work hard on your own game and just really, really concentrate on it. And Cian obviously then went from Leicester to Blackpool, and then he went to Luton. So he went and done the shifts in the lowest league. And I remember they played Chelsea in the FA Cup, Luton. And I rang him after the game and I said, I tell you what, mate, if you'd have had a blue shirt on today, nobody would have noticed. He went, really? I said, tell you what, mate, you're at that level now. You're at that level. And then Leicester got him back, and the rest is history, you know. But his attitude, for me, the attitude of the players is so important. They've got to want to do it, and they've got to want to work hard. That's, for me, most important, because they can have all the skill in the world. I've seen lots, and so have you. You've seen lots of skillful players who may have a poor attitude. And that is going to stop them. Simple as that.
I was in Switzerland in Geneva last year at UEFA at a conference, and we were speaking about this. And they said that the focus now is definitely shifted to what players are like off the pitch and their attitude off the pitch first, because that's a true indicator of what they will or won't do on the pitch. And I think that's a testament to what you just said.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, talking about talent versus mindset, so how much do you think, Hooky, making it as a pro comes down to natural talent, and how much you think is about maybe mindset and resilience? Because this is one that gets thrown around all the time. And I'm a big advocate of, I always say, like, talent's definitely made to a point, but there is some elements. But what's your opinion on it, Hooky? You've seen it a lot longer than me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's some players that have probably gone further in the game because of their attitude than their actual ability would normally allow, because they're leaders, for instance, on the pitch. You know, they're organising, they're determined, they get wedged in, they don't ever accept anything but high levels. And I think that is so important, because you're not just motivating yourself, you're motivating people around you. Now, it might be that you're not the best player. Was Jackie Charlton the best footballer in the world when he played in 1966 for the World Cup? But you talk to anybody who had him in his team. I mean, I know it's a long time ago. People forget that there was football before the Premier League. And 1966, Jackie Charlton, Robbie Stiles, mixed in with, you know, the class players, your Bobby Moores and that, you know. It's so important. But yeah, I'm 100% what you just said. I think you've got to have so much talent, but the attitude has got to be right. I mean, I won't mention any names, but I can tell you there's a couple of lads at Leicester before I went to Cyprus. I had them in my team, and we went to Liverpool in the Premier League tournament, and we only had 11 players. And I remember ringing Paul Genie and I said, "We've got 11 players, boss." He went, "Well, you've got to fulfil the fixture, because, you know." And we went up there with 11 players, and we played Stoke, Liverpool and Sunderland. And we beat Stoke 1-0, we beat Liverpool 3-0. And then Sunderland, who they'd lost against the year before, heavily, we beat them 3-2 at the end. So we won the Premier League Cup with 11 players who had to play all the minutes. Now, that ain't just down to ability. That's down to attitude. But we had a player who was special. And I think we scored 10 goals. He got 7 of them in the actual 3 tournament, in the 3 games. And he was special, but his attitude wasn't always the best. And unfortunately, it's come back to bite him, because he's now playing level 4, level 5, and everybody was talking about him playing for Arsenal and all this, that, the other. And and it's a shame, but he didn't have that drive, didn't have that love of the game. And I think you've got to love the game as well.
I think that's the first starting point. If you don't love it, you're gonna struggle. Now, Hooky, looking at your time in the academy system, you've worked with the real young ones all the way through to the seniors, and you've seen the seniors. For parents listening, what really goes on inside the top English academy at like places like Leicester. But what I want to drill into, the more detailed question is, what are scouts and coaches looking for day to day from a player? What would you look for, and what do you think clubs like Leicester look for? Because we get asked this a lot from our parents in Australia and the USA.
Yeah, I think a lot sometimes is a lot of people look at the physicality of players. That's not necessarily just the size. That's just the mobility and their agility in getting around the pitch. Because as you know, when they're in the growing stage, they can look like Bambi because things like that. So I always think, again, when I look at games, I don't always look out for the one who stands out. Sometimes it's the one who probably nobody else is looking at, because I just see something in him. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but I signed Billy Key at the age of 7 from Mount Sorrel. We were playing him in a 7-a-side tournament. It went to the final and we beat them 1-0 in the final. But Billy could strike a ball. Now, he was a physically strong lad, but he could strike a ball like a 12-year-old. So his timing and everything, and he just really just stood out. But he was also physical, but he wasn't quick. So he just caught my eye, and then obviously I asked him to come to Alexton New Parks, and as you know, he went and had a career in the game. But some scouts look for the wrong things. I think sometimes you just think, he's tall, he's strong, it could be the smallest in the world. I mean, how tall's Messi? Is he 5'8", something like that? So,
5'7", yeah.
Yeah. So I just look for a player who's got a bit of everything, but the attitude has to be good. I've seen players. I've been this morning and doing a session over there, and there's a game going on behind me, and this lad is. All I could hear was his name being screamed and shouted from his dad, and I thought to myself, is he a good player? I couldn't really see, but I will go again when I ain't coaching and have a look. But that's all I could hear was his name. But I don't know, is he playing at the level that he should be playing at? Should he be challenging himself? Should he be playing above? Because, when teams like now, when I was younger, I used to think winning a game 6, 7, 8-0 was great, but is it? I mean, you want to see them under a bit of pressure, don't you? So I think it's a bit of everything. They've got to have talent, they've got to have good attitude, and got to be athletic. But a lot of it's up here for me. A lot of it's up here. So you need to see them when they're under the cosh. It's easy to see. But in the academy, obviously, we have players come in, and then if they go in the shadow squad, and then they look like they're able to cope, then they come up for 6 weeks, as you know. And then we look at them with the other academy players. And there's a lad now at Leicester who me and Steve Ely signed when he was 14, and we would call him Baddy. I can't pronounce his name, but he's flying. He's flying. I mean, he really is a prospect, I think. I mean, he's been around the first team, but I went and watched the 21s against Southampton last week, and he was superb. And obviously Jake Evans and Louis Page was playing. And I'm very, very close to them too. Very close. As you know, they're both in Qatar now for the World Cup under 17s. I should be messaging them soon, actually, but voice message. But they've got great attitude. Both of them work so hard at the game. So when I look at players, if I'm going to look at a player, I look at the package. I don't just look at one thing. There's a few things I think makes up a player, personally.
Love it. Now, what's the one thing that you think every young player and parents should be aware of, and when we're thinking about understanding the realities of trying to make it? So from those early ages, like if you've got players who are 9 and 10 coming into the academy, what do you think the one thing that they should be, understand about the realities of making it? What's the one thing that sticks out to you?
Well, I think the first thing about the parents is they need to let the coaches do the job. Yeah. And I think the parents are there for encouragement. And, again, if the parents go on at a boy or a girl for having a bad game as they're going home, they don't need that. It's almost like switch off. Let's switch that off and talk about something completely different, because the coaches will go through that with them. And I think also with the kids themselves, they have to understand that the level, you've gone up the level, and you're not going to be so dominant in a game as you normally would be, because you're playing against better players. You may be playing with better players, but you're playing against better players. So I think kids need to sort of understand that they're going to hit problems, and that's great. That's fantastic. I like it when they struggle, because we've got something to work with then, haven't we? Their attitude, their application. But then that's when you need the parents as well to be on your side and realise that you're not there to criticise their son or daughter, that you're there to help them. And there's been a few issues over the years with some parents. I think the parents can be really difficult, and that's the problem. If they're with you and supporting you, you know, as my local club at Alixton, I remember some of the parents just stood on their own, and I said to them, "Why do you stand on your own?" I said, "Don't want to get involved."
Yeah.
You know, because you know you're got them now. They're with you. I trust you, and that's a big word, trust.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you were just speaking about this before, and this is a great question from one of our followers as well. But when you see a young player for the first time, what's the one thing that catches your attention instantly? Is there something that you're looking for? Like, because I know it's very subjective for everyone, but I believe with all the years of coaching and being in football, I think we all get it. You do have a bit of an eye to look or spot a player. What is it for you, Hooky, that when you see a player and you go, that's it?
Well, obviously, I think the first touch is very important. You know, I mean, again, if they can look after a ball, you know, in tight areas, even at a young age, you think that's a big plus, because, you know, that's where all the pressure is, that's where the interference is, and they can look after it and get out of there. That always makes me think, you know, he might not do brilliant in the rest of the game, but there might be just glimpses of that kind of first touch, got the ball down, knows where he's going to go, scanning and looking, and just, you know, I think it's so important. I mean, the session I had yesterday with a boy who's 8, I do scanning with him, and I do a lot of it, and he never knew what the word was. I had to explain, but I call it crossing the road. So you're looking like that, you know. But if the kid's 8, technically very good, by the way, Ray, but he didn't know what scanning was, and now I'm working. So I just do a square, yellow, red, blue, green, and I'm passing the ball into the square, and then I'll shout a colour, and he has to go around it. But then, of course, I then move, so I go from looking at him and I go to the left. So the beauty of that is he's now turned around, so all the spots have moved. They haven't moved, but they have, because he's moved. So then, you know, there's all them kind of things, you know, working on. But yeah, when I watch a game, I think the first touch and seeing a kid who knows what he's going to do with the ball before he gets it, that's singles them out for me.
It's funny you say that. Like, my program that I run, and I work with players all around the world on a remotely based program now. And one of the objectives, we have 5 key objectives to follow and learn, and the number 1 objective, scanning. And it was the most notable thing in Australia and the USA that kids do not get taught at all. And I know in like Leicester in my time, I can remember sitting in the dressing room with me and Dave, and we've got the likes of Luke Thomas in there with us, and we've worked and done bits with Harvey, and we're giving them the individual objectives. And this is going back 2010, 2011, 2012. And it's like, they're still not doing it now in Australia and the USA. And I'm like, it's a fundamental basic. And I think the basics of just being ripped out the game.
Yeah. Well, again, it's again, you know, for me, I hate to say it, but Paul Scholes, how good was he at scanning? I mean, you know, he could see everything, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some brilliant examples, but for me, him in particular was just unbelievable. He just, you know, and I watched Louis last week against Southampton, and he's got a wonderful left foot, and but he was getting himself, he wasn't overplaying, he was getting the ball, he was laying it off, but every thought he just looking all the time to see where obviously his own players are, not just the opposition, his own players. And he hit one ball into Baddy actually, and he played it forward in between the centre half and the left back, and it was just class. But he knew that pass. He knew that pass. He knew before he got the ball it was on. And that for me, you just have that eye, didn't you, to know where to pass it, because you're looking all the time. And I think King Kenny weren't bad at it, neither was he? So you know,
he was pretty good. Now, talking about overcoming setbacks, you've probably seen loads over the years. And when I'm talking setbacks, I'm talking like injuries, rejection if players are getting released. What's probably the one bit of advice that you've given over the years to players, and how do you sort of word it so your understanding of the player?
The rejection, the release, and all that, which is, as you know, is terrible. It's the worst thing you can tell. But you're doing it for the boy or the girl, because if they're not quite there and they want to go away and build their confidence playing it in local football and enjoying it and getting a smile back on the face, then come back in and challenge again. I always explain it in a bit of a strange way, but people say it works. But it's like if you're going on the M1 and you're going from, Leicester to London, and you want it, and sometimes you have to come off because of diversions, you have to come off the motorway, but you will go back onto it. So it's a case of leaving that road, but you're coming back onto it later on. And that's the way I explain it to the kids, and I've done it loads of times, and I just say, all you're doing is leaving this road, and then you've got a chance to get back on the road further on. It's up to you, and don't think you're not good enough. It's just at this moment in time, we think you need to be playing at a level that suits you, get your confidence, get a smile on your face, and then let's say you're back in. But as for the injuries, well, Will Alves obviously had a terrible injury at Wolves, playing for the under-18s, under-21s. He played for the first team on the Tuesday, then went there. It was awful tackle. And that hit on his ACL, and that really set him back. But Will worked so hard, him and Sammy Braybrook, because they both had an ACL at the same time. And Will's just come back, went out on loan, and he's broke his toes, and he's back again. But I know. You just think to yourself, how bad luck can you have? But I think the injuries, again, it's back to the attitude again. I remember Jeffrey Slutt. I remember I used to use the gym in the Beaver Drive, and I think he had an ACL as well, and he was there at night working so hard. And when I was in Cyprus for 2 years, Jermaine Pennant, it's Crystal Palace. What's his name now? Not Jermaine Pennant. Punchin. Jason. Yeah, he was. Jason, yeah, he lived 2 minutes up the road. And I coached his daughters and the girls, and I used to chat to him for ages. And nice bloke, really nice bloke, and talking to him for ages. And I said to him, about Jeff, and I said that, he had this bad injury, but I didn't know that. He said, but he's one of the quickest, if not the quickest player I've ever seen. So even though he had that ACL, he's worked so hard, and flying, you know what I mean? It was interesting when he said it. It's just that attitude, isn't it, right? You can't give up, can you? You can't give up.
No, that's great. Now, you'll probably love this one, with the rise of social media, online training, global scouting. Do you think it's now easier to get scouted, or do you think it's actually harder? And what's your opinion on it all? Because it's a bit of a mess sometimes.
Well, let's put it this way, Ray. If I had a grandson who was a really good footballer, and I put it on social media, would I put the bad bits on?
Probably not.
So that's the thing, you see, and that's the other. You've got to show both. You do see people on there, and I've just been coaching a boy actually, and I was speaking to the manager the other week, and he said to me, he's really technically gifted, and he is, by the way. He said he's one of these who can do 1,000 keep-ups, and he might be on YouTube later on in life, but he said at the moment, his attitude in the games is holding him back. And so it comes back to that again. He's throwing a ball on a warm-up and he's showing everybody up. Put him in a game, not quite the same, So, but the social media, I don't know, is it good or bad? I think it depends on the individual and what they're putting on there. I mean, I just put on some basic exercises now on TikTok, and really I just put them on there. They're not, well, are they for me? I've got this BH Elite Football coaching that I set up in Cyprus, and I brought it back here, and I've not really pushed it yet, but I'm getting one-on-ones, I'm getting one-on-twos, I'm getting team coaching as well with Paul Pallett, PP Sports, and I'm doing a couple of sessions at the local club here, Kirby Muxlow. And for me, the social media is like, it's good to advertise things, but I put sessions on there, and I ain't putting anything on there personally for me. I just sessions that people want to look at and go, I'll tell you what, I can do that next week. Because, you know, we're all the same, aren't we? Because I might go to a park and see someone doing a session, and I'll rob their session, and they'll say, oh, that's a good session. I went, yeah, I made it up last night.
Yeah, still copy and paste.
Yeah, that's the scales for me, mate. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, like I say, it's the social media can be great, but it can be a negative as well, can't it? Because you know, like you put something on there, and somebody put something else on there, and the kid. I mean, there's a boy at Leicester now. I ain't seen him for a while, and he was using the huddle clips to put on his kids' YouTube, and they're not supposed to do that.
No.
So you know, because it's Leicester City's property. That's supposed to be for the kids to look at, not for, you know, to. So you gotta be careful. But again, it comes back to the parents again, innit? You know, again, some of them, I mean, they just gotta let the kids, let them grow. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. Like, one of our objectives that we do on our online program, we do match analysis, and we get the games recorded. We send it off to Lisbon. They analyse the game for us. Then we distribute it to a coach in England, and then the coaches analyse the game, and we speak to the parents. And then the next thing, you're getting hit with 7 or 8 emails, all these goals they've scored. I'm like, stop. We're not interested. We don't want to see them in a 7-0 win. We don't want to see them scoring 4 goals. We want to analyse them in a game where they've lost 3-2, 2-2, 1-1-0. We want to see them make mistakes. I said, because we actually want to make sure we know what the mistakes are, and then turn them into strengths. And it's so alien for parents, because they think they've got to market their 12-year-old. And it's like, you're not marketing a 12-year-old. The idea and the reason why you're on this program is to get developed and for them to get better. And it's slowly turning the culture, but it's still a little bit behind, I think.
Yeah, it is. And I think, like I say, the coaches have to deal with that as well. And that sometimes becomes an issue, because I mean, some parents over the years, you know, I'm quite, as you know, straight talking. I don't sort of miss my words. If I've got something to tell the parent, I need to tell them for the good of the boy. And if that gets me into a discussion that gets a bit, not heated, but not, then I'm doing my job, because my priority isn't the parent, it's the boy or girl. That's my priority. And I've never done anything other than try and help. That's all I've ever done. And sometimes it clashes with people because they don't agree with you, but, you know, I'm only doing my best. That's all.
Yeah. Now, last one, mate, we're nearly there. Now, you've influenced hundreds, maybe thousands of players and coaches, and you definitely influenced me as a young coach coming in. And I think you were one of the first coaches that I first met and really gravitated towards, because it was that personality. But if you could leave one message for the next generation of footballers listening right now, what would it be?
It's a good question, that is, because there's a few. I think the first thing I would say to the kids is that if you give 100%, that's all you can do, and that then is, we'll see what happens after that. But you have to dedicate yourself. But I also think along the side of playing football, do other things as well in the summer. Have a break and do paddle, and where it's football related exercises, but have a bit of fun and enjoy it with your mates, because you know, you can put you so much into football, but you've got to also work and enjoy yourself socially with other people and get on that. But for players, me personally, I just think have fun. Have fun, because that is the way I coach. That is the way I've always coached. I'm not a great fan of, I'm going to do 15 minutes at this, 15 minutes at that, 15 minutes at that. So people plan the session. And I always think to myself, well, say the kids are really enjoying a session, carry on. Forget that 50 minutes, do that next time. But for me, the kids need to have fun and enjoy and remember that mistakes are good, because when you learn from your mistakes, that's when you improve. So it's important.
Now, I was a little bit worried, because obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, I am a big Liverpool fan, and Plucky is as well. And I was worried coming onto this podcast today, because, we are champions still. But I had a feeling we could be on 5 defeats on a row in the Premier League. But they've turned it around, thankfully, for Liverpool. So in a short 60 seconds to 90 seconds, Hooky, why do you think it started so well and then it went so wrong? And what's your belief with Liverpool, and where are they going to finish at the end of the season?
Well, I think they'll be top four. I did say before the season started I fancied Arsenal because I do think they've got a deeper squad. I also think on a human side that people have started to forget, God bless him, losing Jota, imagine being in a dressing room day in, day out with your friend and also outside of the game, you know, family, and mix him. And apparently he was such a lovely bloke and then he's not there. For me, Salah has probably struggled with that more than anybody.
Yeah.
And I think also that was part, and I still think it's part of the reason they've not started so well as we all anticipated. As I say, we're at the Bournemouth game and was quite fortunate, really, in a way. But I also think we lost 5 players, and we then put 5 players in. And obviously, as you know, that togetherness, that team work, that understanding, you have to start again. And when you've got so many coming in, it's going to cause problems. But I wouldn't write us off in the FA Cup or the Champions League. But I think the league, who knows? I don't know, because, you know, it can turn. And if we get a defender in January and we stay close, you know, we've seen before Arsenal can sometimes have a wobble, can't they? You know.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but I looked at the fixtures today and I've done an episode on our socials today. Arsenal's next 3 games in the Premier League is Chelsea away, Sunderland away, and Tottenham Hotspur in the London Derby. And squeezed in between there, they've got Bayern Munich and Inter Milan in the Champions League. So hopefully it could be a horrid November for them.
Hopefully, yeah. But I won't be crying for them, mate. Will you?
No. Now, Brian, before I let you go, BH Elite, are we able to share your details on the show notes? And the reason why is we've got we got 2.2 million people who follow us weekly, and a lot of them are in the UK. So if anyone's watching this and you want to reach out to Brian, I'm not guaranteeing you can get a session with him, but there may be an opportunity. If you reach out to Brian, I'll leave it in the show notes for everyone to see, and I'll leave his details and his email address. And if you want some top-level coaching, then reach out to Hooky, and I'm sure he'll fit you in if he can in the near future.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Cheers,
no worries. Well, a big thank you for joining us, Brian, and hopefully,
pleasure.
Wish you the best of luck with everything, and a big thank you to your incredible insights today, mate. It's been absolutely amazing, and your honesty that you've gave us across the last 40 minutes.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ray. Take care.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you. To everyone else who's listening, this episode, if it opens your eyes, share it with a player, share it with a parent, anyone who loves football, and even the coaches. The best of luck with your football, everyone, and I'll see you on our next episode at the Raymond Wood Podcast. Community, we've got Liam Williams with us, and also his dad's floating around somewhere, Colin. Now, if anyone doesn't know, Liam has been with us on the Professional Player Pathway programme for around about 3 years now. We first discovered Liam when we met his dad over in Perth, Western Australia, and Liam come on the programme with us. Liam has since moved over to the UK to live with his family, and since he's been on the programme, he's managed to be successful in attaining a contract playing for Bolton Wanderers, who are ex-Premier League team currently playing in League One in England. So Liam, good to see you, mate, and I know a lot of our players and followers know who you are, but for the guys that don't, could you just give us a little bit of a 1 minute, how old you are, your favourite football team, position you play, and how life's going at Bolton Wanderers?
So hi, I'm Liam, 14, and currently at Bolton. So I've been signed since April 24. When I first came, sort of every game I was playing on the left, getting, not full minutes, but sort of eased into it now. So I've been playing a variety of positions. I've played a little bit striker, but I've been adapted more to play on the right, cutting into play. Really enjoying at Bolton now. I've got a good squad, and coming up to scholarship soon, so hopefully I'll be able to get a scholar playing there. And I'm really enjoying at Bolton. So it's been hard the past 16 months or so settling in, but it has really been life changing the way it's gone, and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to play where I am now.
Now, what's the difference, Liam, for anyone who's watching this around the world? What's the difference from playing in Western Australia to playing in England in a professional academy? Is there any
big differences worth noting, and any of those differences did it take you a long time to adjust, and what were they?
I think it's just the speed of the play. Like it just moves so much quicker. Like I feel like the ball moves quicker. It's set up a little bit more tactically in Australia. It's a bit more technical. Australia, I mean, but over here there's a lot of tactics to it. So like playing in a defensive shape, you get a lot more of that over here, and exploiting like little overlaps, underlaps, especially for me on the wing. That really helps me to find space, because it's very hard to find space. Because everyone moves so quick, it's so much more intense in Australia.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny, you've just hit the nail on the head. I was talking about this with someone a few days ago, and they were asking why I thought that it's more technical in Australia than it is in England. And I think the best way to explain it is, I wouldn't say that the players or the coaching staff have got more technical knowledge, but I think the technical game's lacking in Australia. So there's more of a focus on the technical side of the game. Where in England, when you're in an academy, it's a given that you should have certain touches and certain technical abilities. It's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I seen you at the weekend. Now, I'm going to showcase a little video, and hopefully I won't embarrass you too much, but Bolton Wanderers are flying high this year. We were just speaking about it off the camera, and Bolton, for anyone that doesn't know as well, they're actually coached by my friends growing up, Stephen Schumacher. And they played top of the league at Bolton Stadium, just to build a bit of a picture for everyone. And I think, was it in the 92nd minute, Liam, the winning goal?
92nd or 93rd, yeah.
Brilliant. So I'm just going to show you a little video, and we'll see if anyone can spot anyone famous on the screen. So hopefully you're able to see this as well, Liam. I did have it already, but typical, it's not there. But let's see if we can get it to play. It was a hell of a goal as well, wasn't it, Liam?
Yeah, we was right behind it, just curved in.
Now, I believe you are this one just on the right. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's me.
So what was that like, Liam? Obviously, I know everyone knows you're a huge Everton fan, but I suppose, you've got to get behind the team that you're playing for. What was the feeling like when the goal went in?
I just looked at me mate, and we just looked at each other, and we just jumped up, grabbed hold of you, ran down, and honestly, it felt like when I was running down, I felt like I'd the one who scored, because all the crowd was cheering. It honestly felt surreal. It's just hard to explain. It was like there was a good 23,000 people all cheering, and we was running down. We'd said before that if there's a last minute winner, we'd run and celebrate with them, and you come and celebrate in our corner. So we just ran up and grabbed hold of them and started celebrating.
So anyone around the world watching, let's say in the US or Canada, Australia, don't know why you're on the pitch. You definitely didn't do a pitch invasion. Can you explain to everyone what the academy players get to do at the home games sometimes?
Yeah, so get to do ball boying, just in Australia sometimes you do, but get a right in front of the pitch, in front of the advertisement boards, and when the ball goes out, you're getting balls and stuff, and Brent didn't really say anything about doing that, but we just thought that last minute winner, it was worth it going around and celebrating with the team.
That's brilliant. Now, obviously, you must pinch yourself, because with all respect, Perth, Australia is an amazing city and a great place to live. But to go from somewhere like Perth, where you're used to watching things like that on the TV, to all of a sudden you're now playing at a top academy. Now you're on the side of a pitch, watching winning goals in England, getting scored, and you're celebrating. You must feel like you're so close now.
Yeah, it feels so surreal.
So, obviously, hopefully in a couple of years that you scoring that winning goal at Bolton Stadium, that'll be good, wouldn't it?
That would be wonderful.
Now, just before we get in, for everyone who's watching, we're going to do a very short 15 to 20-minute review on Liam's football. And I think it's really important for all of our boys and girls watching that it doesn't matter whether you're at a top academy or you're at a community club, say in Perth, Australia, or in Laguna Beach in California, wherever you are, you've got to start somewhere. And Liam, obviously you started on this programme a couple of years ago. It wasn't that long ago. And now you prove to everyone that it is possible, but you've just got to have that little bit of hard work and consistency. Now, I want to share, again, I'm not doing this to embarrass you, Liam, but I want to share a couple of pictures, if that's okay. Because time to time, your dad sends me some great pictures and we have updates between each other. But this picture here, can you explain a little bit about this picture and who it's between and what it was?
Yeah, so that was Blackpool last Sunday. This was the second time we played them, and it was a big game. Blackpool are quite close rivals with Bolton, so we always knew that was going to be a big game and it would be a bit tense. And some of the boys were quite nervous, you know, it was a bit tense in the change rooms, and then we went out and we just played our football, we destroyed them. I, myself, as an individual, really good performance. The whole team was excellent on the day. It's the best I think I played with them. We just moved it around them, done really well, and then went up. Second half, we was 2-0 up. We sort of seen out the game. Then we still had fresh energy in our legs, and I got my goal at the end. Got a little slip ball through and took my goal well. And then in the change rooms after, the coach said to me I was man of the match, so that's why I got that man of the match there. And yeah, it was a really good performance, and you know, it was a top example of how our team played together.
It's amazing. Now, for anyone again who doesn't really know who Blackpool are, it wasn't so long ago that they were a Premier League team, but also, as you said, they're very close to Bolton Wanderers. They're not too far in distance. And I know from working in the Premier League and in England, Blackpool attract a lot of ex-Liverpool, Everton, Man U, Man City players. So they normally have a really solid academy team. So I think that 5-1 win was a great win for you, Zay.
Yeah, brilliant.
Now, just the final picture I'm going to show as well is this one. And if you could explain a little bit about the differences to playing for Bolton, and I believe you're playing for Liverpool on this one, is that right?
Yeah, Liverpool Schoolboys.
So Liverpool Schoolboys, if you want to explain to everyone around the world what that means, and also the trophy that you're holding, and also the super coach next to you, Carlo Ancelotti. Oh no, it's not Carlo Ancelotti. That's your dad, isn't it?
Yeah, that's me dad. So yeah, the Schoolboys, it's a bit different from Bolton. So Bolton don't actually have a proper league with points until under 18s, I think it is. But we here have 3 different competitions. So that's the league, that's the cup that we won. That was the final one. We actually got the treble that year, and then there was the National Cup and the League Cup. So we had a really good season there. Obviously, that was the final game of the season. We had to win to get the league, I think, and yeah, we done really well to win that game as well, and that got us the treble. So yeah, that was really exciting. I haven't had much of, because when I came to England, before that in Australia, we didn't have a league yet. So that was the first time I really got to experience what it was like, you know, to actually play for points. And now this season, Bolton have actually got a couple of cups that we play in. And so it's good that I have that experience from last season to know what it's like to play in these big games where, you know, you're trying to get points and get the wins.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of the things that I think's killed the game, especially in places like Australia and the US, where players are playing just for the fun of it and they're not playing for points and trophies. And I think if you want to be confident when you're old and you want to have a chance at winning trophies, I think at some point in your junior development or your youth development, I think you've got to experience that, like you said.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, to explain to everyone, so you've got to be in a school inside Liverpool to play for Liverpool Schoolboys, yeah? And then you would play against, is it Manchester Schoolboys, London Schoolboys, Birmingham Schoolboys? Is it a mixture?
Yeah, there's a lot of mixture. Playing the regional and then the national. The national, we come up against teams from Essex, teams from Chorley, from all around the country.
And I imagine there's a lot of academy players in those school teams as well, who all play at top-level academies as well.
A lot of them are academy players from the top teams.
So brilliant, mate. Big congratulations on that. So for everyone watching, that's just a little bit of an intro on Liam and his dad, and since they've been on the programme. Now, what we're going to do is, if it's okay with Liam, just for the next 10 minutes, we're just going to review his data a little bit and have a look at his hours. But for anyone who's only new to the school community and is not sure how to use it, we're going to actually walk you through the school community and also the hours. Now, the first thing we're going to do with Liam is I'm actually going to reshare the screen again. And what I'm going to do is here, just to keep it really simple for everyone, what we'll do is we'll just load up a new document and we'll show you how simple this can be. So we're going to have a little look at Liam's hours, and in a moment I'm going to show you the video and the location on where you can view this on their school platform. So what we're going to do is, Liam, we're just going to go through each day and we're just going to have a little look at your hours, and then we're going to explain to everyone the reason why we need to work out your hours and why it's so important that we have a look at this. And it's for a multitude of reasons. So if you could just give us roughly on a Monday, Liam, let's say a normal week when you're training with Bolton and maybe you've got any school stuff. So just give us an idea of what you're doing on a Monday from a football or a sports perspective.
On Monday, I have me 1 hour of PE in school, and then after 2 hour session at Bolton. So in total 3 hours on a Monday.
I'll just make this a little bit larger for everyone to see. There we go. Okay, so 1 hour of school, and then how long for Bolton is it?
2 hours.
And that's just basic training with Bolton?
Sometimes do a little bit of gym work, but mostly it's outside on the pitch.
Okay, brilliant. What about Tuesday?
Tuesday, not in school, and then again, another 2 hour session at Bolton.
2 hours at Bolton again. And if you missed anything along the way, feel free to shout it out, mate. Wednesdays?
On Wednesday, I train an hour and a half for Liverpool schoolboys after school.
So we'll put school and we'll put Liverpool schoolboys. And then any Bolton on a Wednesday?
No Bolton.
Okay. Thursday?
Thursday, again, another 2 hours at Bolton.
2 hours Bolton Wanderers. And anything else, or is that it on a Thursday?
No, that's it.
And on Friday, anything school, anything sports?
At the end of the week, I have 1 hour private session with just like a private football coach.
Brilliant. And then anything Bolton?
No. Friday.
Okay. And then Saturday?
Saturday, 80-minute game for Liverpool schoolboys.
And you get most of those minutes, do you?
Most of them, yeah, if not all.
And then Sunday?
Sunday, game for Bolton, same 80 minutes. But sometimes, if we have a cup game, it goes to 90.
Okay, brilliant, mate. And then, is there anything else you think you've missed, like any other school sport, running, recovery, gym work? Do you do the, I know you used to do a little bit of like that acceleration and running speed work. Is that intermittent, or is that every week, or?
Sometimes on those occasions, like if I don't have on Friday, the sessions off, I do that. But normally, because Friday, Saturday, Sunday is when I have most of the day off, then I do my recovery, like rolling, stretching, all that kind of stuff.
So you have roughly about 11 hours of football in there, and then within your school stuff and your private stuff, so I'd say that's 12 with your private, and then about 2 hours school.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, and I'm going to show you this in a moment when I share the screen, but you should be doing what's called +1 your age group for your hours. So Liam, how old are you currently today?
14.
So that means Liam should be doing 15 hours. Now, if you're 16 years of age, you should be doing 17. But when you get to 16, it stops at 17 hours a week. Now, again, to explain this to everyone, your 70% of your hours needs to be football or above, and then 30% or less needs to be non-football. So I think looking at what Liam's currently doing at the moment, he's roughly doing about 12 hours of football, and he's doing around about an hour and a half to 2 hours of school stuff. Now, I would say he's probably maybe an hour and a half short of just adding in something extra. So I'm going to showcase to Liam what he should be doing extra, but also if you want more information on the +1 as well, I'm going to show you guys where you can see that. But the good thing is, Liam, I think when we first looked at this about a year ago, your hours were way down. You were short of about 3 or 4 hours. So it's really good to see that it's not ironic that your performances are getting better and better. You're getting man of the match performances at a top academy, and your hours are now near enough on point. So do you feel a lot better than where you was a year ago?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
So for anyone that hasn't seen the new school platform, we'll take you in. So when you log into school, you'll notice that we've got our community on here, and I will discuss everything and anything about football. We have competitions, but if you want to drop something in the chat as well, you can just give it a title. It could be about formation and what's the best formation for under 14s, and then you can hit post, and then you can submit the post. So that's for anyone who's watching who doesn't know what our school community is. Also within the school community now, if we go into classroom, you'll notice that we've got a start here button. Now Liam won't have seen this because this is completely brand new. We've relaunched school in the last 7 days, so this is the first time Liam's seen it as well. So for anyone who clicks on here, so you need to do this as well, Liam, at some point in a few days. You need to click on this one and have a read through the thank you for joining. And then you've got 2 options on the left. You've got school only or full Triple P player. Now with the school only, I'll show you what this means is if you register onto school here, you can actually join for free for 7 days, and you can have a 7-day trial for free. Or once you've done the trial, you can pay $297 to register on the school platform with me, and you can be part of this school platform and enjoy being this part of the community and see people like Liam and speak to people like Liam, but also get access to all of our programs. Now, if you're a Triple P player, a professional player, pathway player, which means you're on the full-time program with me, but also you're being represented by me as well as an agent, you need to then go through this now, Liam. So when you get a chance, you've done a lot of this, your match objectives, your DNA, but there's a bit of a flow to follow and read, and it tells you what to follow. Now you'll notice, Liam, and I'll give you the little example on this. So you've already done your match objectives, but if you wanted to look at your match objectives, you could see at the top, see the number 5, that's in brackets.
Yeah.
So if you go back to the classroom, you'll notice they've all got numbers. And if you want to go to your objectives, you go to number 5 here and you click in, and then it then gives you the guide on how to follow your match objectives. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now you'll notice, guys, as you work through here, again, anyone who's watching this, even if you're seeing this on YouTube or our socials, you're able to get access to the school platform completely for free for 7 days. Also, my new book's on there that you can get access to as well, and you can download. And it talks about my time working in the Premier League, working at clubs like Bolton Wanderers. Is one of the first places where I actually completed my UEFA B license as well. Now, the big thing that we spoke about to Liam with his hours was giving him an idea to build up an extra 1 to 2 hours a week. There's 2 areas, Liam, that I'm going to get you to have a little look at for me. But before we do that, one of the big things is how many hours a week. So for anybody who wants to know how to work out your hours, so before we showed you on this sheet that we worked out that it's +1, your age. If you go back into that school platform, can you see section number 12 there, okay, Liam?
Yeah.
And it says how many hours a week. If you click on there, there's a video. If you hit play, it only goes for about 15 minutes. So for anyone who's watching this, you can hit play on this video and it will showcase to you how you work out how many hours you need to do. But we've just done that for Liam, so we don't need to show him that. Now, a couple of things I would like Liam to consider is number 7. And don't worry, Liam, what I'm going to do is I'll drop you a message in the school community so you don't have to write this down. But you need to have a look at number 7, football mental strength training. Also, number 10, the dugout. And if we go into the dugout, you will notice there's two key areas that I want you to start working on. One of the key areas, again, is revisiting and having a little look at your beat tests. Now, remember when you do beat tests, and I've explained this to Liam and all of our players before, we don't want beat tests to be done at the beginning of the season, at the middle, and at the end. It's not designed for that. The beat test is to build up acceleration. The beat test is to build up deceleration. It builds up speed. It builds up the lungs and the engine of the body. And the big thing is that resistance from injuries. So the common injury that players get is the ACL injury. If you're doing a beat test 2 to 3 times a week, not only are you getting fitter, you're going to get stronger, cardiovascular system's going to get an upgrade, but also you're going to strengthen those knee areas. Now, the best way to do this, and Liam knows this, I've gone through this with him before, when you run down one side on the beat test, make sure you decelerate on your right foot. Then when you come back up the opposite way, you decelerate on your left foot. This way, you're balancing the weight onto both knees. Now, Liam, when was the last time, honestly, you'd done a beat test?
Probably end of last season, maybe. A couple of months ago.
So one of the things I want you to do is with your dad, and again, all the guidelines are in here if you follow the beat test rules, and it actually explains what you need to do with the distances, 20 meters apart. And then if you follow the video through, it'll explain it for you. Now, for me, Liam, if you're doing at least 2 times a week, how long does it roughly take you, Liam, to do a beat test?
Max probably 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah, so for anyone out there who goes, I don't have time to do a beat test, how bad do you want to be an academy player like Liam? How bad do you want to make it as a professional? And this is the thing that I would say to you is putting in a couple of beat tests a week. Liam doesn't necessarily need to do 2 to 3 beat tests a week for the rest of this year because he's already in the pro system. He's training like a pro. He's got his hours up where they need to be. But I'm going to challenge Liam now for the next 2 weeks just to get me 4 beat tests so I can have a look to see where his score's at and how he's travelling. So are you going to be okay getting a few of them for us, Liam, at some point in the next few weeks? Brilliant. So that still only builds Liam up by about an extra 20, 30 minutes a week. One of the other things that I want him to think about, and most of you guys out there watching this have got a mum or a dad or an uncle or an auntie who's always keen to go out and have a kick with you. Liam's very fortunate as well. He's got his dad who can get out with him. Is having a little look at the one-on-one sessions. So if you click on the one-on-one sessions here, you'll notice that we've added in 9 one-on-one sessions. So what I want Liam to do is once a week, just pick on one of these, Liam. So you might pick on the first one touch, scan and move. Hit play on the video, have a little look at it and then replicate it. And then just do it for half an hour. And maybe you could do 2 of these a week, 2 half-an hours. So with the 2 beat tests, the 2 one-on-one sessions, all of a sudden there's your extra hour and a half that's added into your schedule. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. Well, look, it was short and sharp. It was great to touch base with you. Now, before we do go, one of the things I want to ask you is, I want you to tell me 2 things. Give me 1 tip for anyone watching. What's your number 1 tip that you think you'll stand by for the rest of your life, that you've since learned, since maybe joining the program, since your dad's been coaching you, since you were playing in Australia? It doesn't have to necessarily be with us, but what's the 1 top tip you would give to any player watching?
First and foremost, was just be work hard. I've always been told it, and it really does make sense now, because even I can see players in my team at Bolton, at Schoolboys, the ones that work the hardest, the ones that perform best in the game, sometimes getting opportunities to play up with the under-16s. So the first and foremost tip is just to work as hard as you possibly can.
Brilliant, mate. Now, before you go, have you got any questions, any concerns, any problems you want to ask while you're on, or are you pretty good to go?
Pretty good to go, I think.
Now, I believe we've got a big game this afternoon in Liverpool, down at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. The mighty Everton are playing Tottenham Hotspur. Are you going to give us a score prediction?
I'm going to say 3-1 to Everton.
Oh, that's a good score. And I actually spoke to his dad before, and my prediction, I hate saying this as a Liverpool fan, but I think it's going to be Everton 2. And I think Grealish first goal and Tottenham Hotspur a big fat donut to 0. So you and your dad enjoy yourself, mate, at the game this afternoon. It's great to touch base. We are planning on...
Hi everyone, a big thank you for joining me at the Ravenswood podcast. We're super excited. Now you're probably looking as well at one of my guests, because one of my guests, Matt, was with us a couple of weeks ago and he's back again. And we've also got Paul Merritt with us as well. So Paul and Matt, how are you guys?
Good, Ray. How you going, mate?
Yeah, very, very good.
Very well, mate. Very well.
So we obviously spoke with you guys about a year ago and was really intrigued. And one of the problems that I seen in the game of football, soccer, as we call it here in Australia, was all around athletes, planning post-careers, and also basically trying to help athletes secure the futures. And then when obviously you told me a little bit about Merit Sports and what you're doing. But before we get into that, I'd love it if you just maybe give me both a quick little 1 minute overview of who you are, what you do, and how you've ended up to come into form Merit Sports. So we'll probably start with you, Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Yeah, look, I've been in the property game for 36 years, and you know, I'm third generation real estate, and I've done land, I've done building, I've done retail building, and now I'm in the wholesale space, helping people with investment properties. And my specialty is house and land packages, so land and new builds. And you know what I've seen and learnt over the last couple of years is, for me personally, is watching people build wealth through property, and how that's exciting to them, but also to me, because I'm trying to help people build that wealth by buying multiple properties, not just one or two. And because I've got a bit of a sporting passion like you, I'm a bit of a sporting nut. I wanted to work out how I could combine those two passions, and over time, you know, I've read reports where you've got athletes that, you know, some have been successful in life after sport, and what they've done while they've been playing professional sport. But there's obviously a lot of stories that you read where people have finished the sport and they don't know what to do next. They've got no money, they don't know what to do next, and then struggle in life. And I thought I need to somehow tap into that as well, and get involved, and trying to work out how me as an individual contact sporting people who don't know who I am, was the next step that I thought I needed to work out how I would do that. I've known Matt on and off for the last sort of 10 or 15 years, and bumped into Matt a year or so ago, and just sort of said to him, "This is what I'm thinking about. You know, would you be interested in sort of coming on board and joining me with this journey?" And he was like, "Yep, I'm in," and off we go.
Matt, a little bit about your background, if anyone hasn't seen my last podcast with you on.
Yeah, mate, very fortunate and to be a professional athlete in rugby league for 10 years with the Brisbane Broncos. Also representing Queensland and Australia along my journey. So debuted in 2010, and then I was medically retired in 2019 due to a shoulder injury. So yeah, coming up to 5 years, almost retired now. I've had a hell of a time in my footy career, and you know, I wish I could still be playing, but you know, life goes on, and yeah, now married with 3 kids and enjoying life, and you know, something, you know, that I'm passionate about, and yeah, looking forward to is, you know, partnering with Paul and in Merit Sports, and you know, guiding these athletes, and you know, to something that they can build. You know, their vision might not be there when they're 19 or 20 to have a family and be supporting kids that are going through school and set themselves up outside of their chosen sport. So, you know, coming with Paulie and, you know, building something that we think, you know, is quite unique for us to pair together. And, you know, I've been in the bubble as an athlete, and I know what, you know, people come across you and they want to pull you in this direction, that direction. They want a little bit out of you. You know, something that we've created that's going to be out there for athletes to come into, a safe environment, a trusted environment to, you know, hopefully and eventually set them up for life out of sport. So very much looking forward to that journey. You know, I think you've got something, again, very special and unique that we can offer to athletes.
Amazing. Just to clarify, I'm pretty sure it is, but this is support for all athletes, no matter the sport or codes you play, and that's correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
that's it. Yeah, we want to help any athlete across all sports. Obviously, Matt's rugby league, but you know, we've been talking to people that are playing AFL at the moment. We're talking to a lady who's an Olympic athlete, and we've got some contacts, obviously, through soccer with yourself and other sports. So, yeah, across all sports, we're here to help.
Yeah, I think what excited me the most was when I was a coach, and then when I first met with you guys and you were telling me about the idea, and it was like, I think personally you're solving one of the biggest problems in sport. And I think it all stems down to one thing. I think it's education, and the lack of education, in a sense of start planning now whilst you're an athlete, and then you're going to be right for the future, because the amount of, I think I gave you the story, but I won't mention names, but he was an ex-professional who was at the top of his game in the Premier League. Unfortunately, through personal circumstance, went through a few divorces, which meant every time you get divorced, there's a split of money. And he got to the end of his career. He was sustaining a life where he was earning £40,000-50,000 a week. Once that money stopped coming in, he kept that lifestyle, and pretty quickly his money run out. And it's so sad to see, and there's many, many examples, and not just males but females as well, in football and in soccer, and I'm sure it goes on in rugby league and union and everywhere. And I think what you've stumbled upon here, the idea, I think it's genius, because I think it's so needed.
We want to sort of grow that further, because education is one thing, but mentorship is another, both in sporting life and life in general. Everyone's got parents and friends that they can fall on, but if they want to talk to someone outside of that bubble, because you've got your professional sports bubble, and then you've got your inner circle bubble of friendship and family, if you want to explore something a bit further and just have a general chat about life, that's what we're here to do as well. That's part of why we've got Matt here from a sporting mentor point of view and life, and I'm here from a property mentorship and life. So we're trying to build on that as well.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think the synergy between you and Matt, when I thought about it, I thought, you've got someone who's played for the Broncos, played for Australia, played for Queensland. From a sporting point of view, there's no bigger pinnacle. And then from your background with like the real estate and the advice around the finances, it's a no-brainer.
And I think I played 4th division in rugby union too. So yeah.
We'll look for those highlights.
You probably won't find any of that on YouTube, that's for sure.
Yeah, just back to what Paulie sort of said before. It's you need to disconnect from what you're doing, and as an athlete, you need to have your time, your downtime, a focus away from your chosen sport. And I think coming into our environment, you're going to feel that of I'm in a direction where I can sort of see, and that, like Paul said, that's our job, to educate them at a young age and trying to get them thinking that way. It's not saying we're just dealing with those younger age groups. It's never too late to start building some wealth, but it's important to get the kids that are coming out of school. They're obviously highly talented and they're into a system, whether it's league, cricket or soccer. To educate them, have those conversations, and try and think about what life looks like in 10 years and how they want to be set up. Do they want to go out and do a 9-to-5 job and digging holes, or do they want to set themselves up so they can have some flexibility and probably choose a bit more of what they want to do after their sport? So it's definitely important to have those conversations early and just keep reiterating what we're here to do.
Yeah. Paul, for you, I've thought about this, and I can see from an athlete's point of view, a lot of athletes might be a little bit scared to maybe reach out, and they're going to think, how much is this going to cost me, or what's the effort levels? But I think, do you agree, the financial literacy has got to be part of the athlete's journey?
Yeah. Look, I mean, as a normal buyer's agent would have a sign-on fee, if you want to engage them. I get paid by the builders, and so I don't charge anybody any money. So my success is based on doing the business. That's the first and foremost.
Amazing.
The journey that we take the athletes on is there's no pressure. We'll sit down and have a coffee. And we've just done this recently with a young player, and his parents came along too, and we're very supportive of that as well, because this journey we're all involved, and we talked about what we do and how the process works, and there's no obligation for them to go any further if they don't want to. We're here to help them, but it's their choice. And so we will advise and educate on what the steps are, and they've got to take those steps. And we'll nicely say this is what you've got to do, But there's no pressure. We're here to hold hands, and if that takes a couple of years of chatting and they finally decide that they want to do something, no problems. That's the way we do it.
When they reach out to you guys, Matt, you and Paul, what's like the first sort of step or process with you? Do they log online and register interest? Is there a one-day course? Is it an informal meeting? How does it work? Like if we've got athletes out there watching, because I know through my background and UEFA as an agent and as an ambassador, I've got thousands of players who are following me, and I've spoken to a few of them about this, so they're really keen to engage. How would they engage with you to kick it off?
Well, there's plenty of obviously Paul and myself through our socials, and to reach out and follow Merit Sports AU online, and maybe reach out through there or through my personal account as well. I've got a profile there on Instagram as well. There's our website that's running as well, but just reaching out is the first thing, and then it's just a matter of catching up, making some time. Whether that's through an online meeting or it's a coffee down at the local coffee shop. It's it's important to catch up, understand what they're thinking, and obviously they're going to have questions about the whole scenario. So it's just important to catch up and have those conversations and get to know them. First and foremost, it's not we're here to build something. We're not here to sell you a product that one hit wonder. We want to help you and guide you and build your wealth, not just go looking for something and get rid of you. It's about building the relationship first and
over longer term.
Longer term.
I think the face-to-face, whether it's in person or online, is very important, because you get to see what the person looks like and see the colour of their eyes, and that to me is very important to, as part of that, building that rapport and understanding and trust with an individual.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%.
Just to also, obviously we've got athletes all around the world. Are you guys willing to work with athletes no matter where they're based, or have they got to only be Australia based? Or
well, if they're Australian, that's all that matters, because if they are Australian and they want to invest in property, then obviously we're talking about Australian property. Wherever they are based is no issue for Matt and I, and we're happy to go and visit them in England or America, wherever they are. That's not a problem either. But we're here to help all athletes. Whatever sport, whatever part of the world they're playing in.
Yeah. Is there any plans further down the line where you might be able to help people who aren't Australian? Like you've got an English athlete through one of my contacts who are really interested in getting educated around how they could build some more wealth for the family and purchase properties. Is that going to be something you might look at further down the line? Or?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it'll just come back to where we do that, because there's obviously rules in Australia about buying in Australia. And there are some countries that can do that with the right criteria, and then there's some that don't. And so that'll be something down the track that we will look at and consider.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Amazing. Now, Matt, obviously for you coming from the NRL and being at the top game and then having to come out of that and then go into the business side of it, how did you find that transition? Was it easy? Was it hard? And would there be any tips that you would maybe give any current athletes, no matter the level of playing at, on how you transition into the business world?
Yeah, mate, it's obviously, something, sort of my journey coming. I worked for 3 or 4 years before I made it to the NRL and got my debut. So I was a fencer before rugby league, so get out there and dig some holes and put some post in and mix some concrete. So very hard job, but that's work ethic. That's probably what got me to where I was. I worked very hard to succeed, and eventually got the reward of playing NRL for 10 years. So I think along your journey, it's about actually sitting down and thinking about what you want to do. Whether you're at the club, the Broncos, you're at the Raw, you're Cricket Australia, sitting down with people in that organisation and asking them about what do you see that I could sort of do, or asking the questions that what should I be setting up for myself, life after sport. It's very important. I was pretty lucky that, or not lucky, I was medically retired due to a shoulder injury, but I got to experience a bit within the club. I did some corporate work. I did some ambassador, game development, charity work as well. So I covered a lot in the 3 years that I was medically retired for in the club. So it got me a bit of a feel, and that's like anything when you're going through your career. It's going out and seeing if you like to dig holes. Or it's it's like if you want to be a nurse,
What's the answer to that?
Oh, don't do it. It's bad shoulders. I think that's where I come from. Digging too many holes before I played, and but yeah, it's just getting those life experiences while you can, while you got the time, a lot of spare time as an athlete, or especially in the rugby league world, to set aside some time to put yourself out there and go tag along. But again, I think meeting the right people. Obviously, known Paul for a while, but we really connected after I finished, and we've created Merit Sports, and a few other friends that I've met through the kids going to school together. That are in business, that are reaching some massive goals with themselves, and just learning off them, the conversations. You surround people, hearing the same things over and over again, so it slowly sinks in. But again, I think it's that group that Paul touched on before about disconnecting from your sport and then going outside and reconnecting with a different group that that are there for the right reasons to help you. Yeah.
I think what I'm touching on there is, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was take yourself out of that comfort zone sometimes and going into maybe an area that you wouldn't be comfortable in, but then actually after a few days and a few weeks, you start to feel a bit more comfortable in there, don't you, and feel like you belong there as well.
I think so, yeah. I think, like you just said, mate, the more you're around it, the more you're going to understand, and the lingos and the way that people talk and present, and about that conversation, and picking up little things. And we picked up a little thing before our meeting here today, which is a bit educational there, but it's just those little things. You never know who you're going to bump into, or who you're going to talk to, or what path it's going to lead you down. And the more you put yourself out there as an athlete, and the better off you're going to be.
Yeah. Paul, for you, obviously being a real estate expert and being in the game for so long, what triggers you all of a sudden to really want to help athletes? All of a sudden, where did that come from?
Well, it hasn't been an overnight thing. It's something that I've been thinking about for a while, actually. Probably about 10 years, to be fair.
Wow.
And but just sometimes I like to think about things maybe a bit too long. But I thought about what's the benefit of me doing this? What's the benefit of a player or an athlete, listening to me?
Yeah.
And so, that's taken a few years to really formulate in my brain.
Yeah.
And I think the key to it was getting Matt on board, because Matt adds a level of professionalism to what we're doing, because he's been in the bubble, he's now out of the bubble, he's played the sport at the highest level, and I think for him and I, I'm only slightly older than Matt, as you can tell.
Mate, got some greys coming.
But we've got a real good connection together, and we're both married and family men, and we've got kids that are playing similar sports, and so there's a real good connection for us, and that was a key for me to help grow and build that business.
Yeah.
But mate, it's been in the brain and on the drawing board for a few years.
Yeah. That's good. Matt, I know we did touch on this a little bit last time, but I want to retouch on it again. I think it's an important one. But why do you think so many athletes, even maybe in rugby league, struggle so much financially after retirement? Is there one thing that you can really pinpoint on, or do you think it's a culmination of things?
It's just not having the right people in your corner, mate. Whether it's it's mum and dad, or it's your best mate, it's your uncle, or whoever it is in your corner at the time. For me now, being outside, and all I want to do is help athletes to set themselves up. You do put yourself, or put the body through a lot. People probably don't understand what you actually do go through as an athlete, and especially a contact sport, and injuries, and the pressures of being in the spotlight all the time. And for me, it was okay for me being in the spotlight. I was fine. I'm a pretty easygoing bloke, but for some that they come out of school and straight into their chosen sport, and they're plastered all over social media, the news, they're out there, they're looked at, they're under the pump from the media, from every little thing they do. So, again, it's just having the right people in your corner that you can trust, surround yourselves, you can bounce ideas off. We want to create that environment for them. I've again been there, done that. I've been in it. I know what it's like to copper, some verbal abuse and some online abuse and everything else. But again, I was okay with that. It's part of my job. And yes, I didn't play, and yes, I dropped 2 balls or whatever it is. Made some mistakes, but life goes on. But again, I think, definitely getting them to a young age. And, some, like I said, they come out of school, they're earning some good money. What are they doing with it? Are they just going to go waste it and buy a new car, buy the best clothing brand, clothes, shoes, whatever it may be, and not thinking about, they've got to think about their future and what they want to do. It's not forever. I was a 10-year career, probably not many people, can play 10 years in rugby league, or, some people play for a year or 2 and they're out straight away. So it's about maximising what you can as an athlete to set yourself up, and it goes very quick.
It goes very fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
One minute you're playing 4th division sport, and then the next
That's it, mate. Yeah,
Welcome to the Professional Player Pathway. If you've got a dream yourself or a dream for your child and you're going to move heaven and earth to make it happen, this pathway is a way for young football players like you to hone your skills and get your chance in Europe. Because talent is everywhere, but Europe is where football stars are made. So it's our job to get you there. But here's the kicker. Getting to the UK or Spain for academy trials isn't enough. You need to be good enough to get signed, which is why our program focuses on the complete footballer: skills, mindset, nutrition, and education. We prep you not just to be as good as the English and Spanish kids, but better. In our sessions, we're going to cover a lot of ground. What exactly is the Professional Player Pathway program? How does it improve your game? What it actually takes to become a professional footballer? Who we are partnered with? And the most important is our success stories so far. Will you be next? Register below or contact us.
Paul, is there for you, like, being an avid sports person like myself, where, like, we're not necessarily with players, like, we play for fun and socially, but is there any, like, early warning signs that you see when you think there's an issue here with this athlete financially, or there's a point in the career where you're starting to notice actually this is a bit of a problem for them?
Yeah, look, I haven't seen it firsthand, but you do read and see these things, and that was probably a driver for me, because I'm thinking, it's like anything, when you say, if I was in that position, I would be different, and I don't know for sure, but I suppose being that sounding board to say, look, you are privileged, and everyone knows that they are privileged. But I think sometimes when you get into that bubble, and Matt could probably talk more about this, but as an outsider looking in, when you're inside that bubble, outside of the bubble almost doesn't exist. And I suppose my view on that is to try and educate that you've got to look outside that bubble while you're in the bubble, because there's a lot of people out there that want a piece of every athlete for good or bad reasons, and so those athletes have got to be cautious about that. And once again, having Matt with me helps cement that we're in this for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's a help.
Yeah.
Before we move back to Matt, just one other thing, it's probably an obvious question, but for some who aren't really aware of it, why is the focus point real estate? Why is it so important to people?
Yeah, look, there's pros and cons for doing anything financially, whether it is in cryptocurrency or real estate, and real estate could be industrial or commercial or residential, or it could be shares, or my vehicle is real estate, and the vehicle within that is residential, and then the vehicle inside that is house and land packages. I've been doing house and land packages now for quite a while, and I see the benefits in doing house and land packages. And from things like you only pay stamp duty on the land, you've got tax benefits on the new build, you've got a brand new product, so you've got less maintenance, you can get a better tenant, you can get a better rent. You're generally buying in areas that are growth corridors, whether they're master plan communities or big growth corridors. So that's my lane. That's what I really know, and I've seen the results and the successes of people who have done that, and so that's what I'm focused and passionate about.
Yeah. Matt, for you, as an athlete, whether you've got an athlete who's 20 or 24 or whatever the age is, and they're saying, probably not for me, I'm too young to be thinking about this stuff. What's your advice to those athletes, and when should they start to plan and focus on the financial future?
I think straight away, mate. I think you even though you're probably not in the right mind frame, or you don't have the right people in your corner, or whatever it is, you should be thinking about it. Like I said before, you could be in the spotlight and you could last 1, 2 years, 12 years, 15 years. You're not sure when that end date is as an athlete. With, as we know, injuries do come into any sport there. So I think from day one it's definitely coming out of school, especially coming out of school into a system. You've got to be thinking about the long term. It's so important. It's like I said before, it goes by so quick, and you're in that bubble. You're enjoying life. Everything's great. Everything's prepared for you. You don't have to think too much about where to be, what to wear, what to eat. It's all given to you. So you get stuck in that little bubble. So it's always, the earlier you can, switch that mind frame of actually thinking about where am I going to live, where's my wife, where's my 2 or 3 kids going to be, where are they going to school, what does life look like for them? Am I able to support mum and dad when I sort of finish and throughout my career? What am I doing now to set myself up? It's so important, and it's about education. Obviously, you're not going to go sit down with a 18, 19-year-old and they're going to go, yep, I'm straight away. That may happen, but it's about having those conversations and just, making sure they feel comfortable with, setting stuff up or putting things in place for the future.
Yeah, that's such good advice.
Yeah.
Paul, going back to you, in regards to, I can see this from an athlete's point of view, and Matt will probably get this as well, but I know one of the first questions he'll throw is, how involved have I got to be in this, and how much does it take of my time? Because your time's precious when you're an athlete. You've got to worry about your recovery, training for the next day of your game. What does it look like from an involvement point of view for an athlete? Is it all self-managed for them, or have they got to...
Yeah, look, they can get involved as much as they want, but the beauty about what we do is we are controlling the process, which means I'm communicating with the athlete about where life is at.
Yeah.
And so as long as they're happy that they're getting that regular communication, and communication for me is big with regards to my dealings with the builder or the broker or whoever it might be. If I'm providing that communication, then I think the athlete can then focus on what they're doing. They don't need to be ringing me every day if they don't want to and saying, what's going on now? They don't need to do that. The main point for them is that when we're going through the process of building a house, there's obviously phases of the house that you've got to pay, and so there'll be times where they need to be communicating with their broker or the bank to release funds. But that's I sort of guide them and say, okay, this is now due, and then I help find the property managers. I go to the handovers, no matter where they are in Australia, and so I'm making sure that the house is finished, it's up to scratch, and all the defects are done, and the property manager's there taking all the photos, and so they can ring me every day if they want to, or they can just trust the process.
Yeah. This one's probably both ways, whoever wants to have a go at answer, but have you seen any, whether it be with Merit Sports or with anyone else, where there's been some really good success stories, maybe someone you've come across in the Rugby League Wales who's done really well, or have you seen any cases and you could maybe talk on to some of the people watching and listening in?
Yeah, well, me personally, I've just had a client finish a house, and I think the uplift on that house has been $120,000.
Wow.
Just while the house is being built.
It's crazy.
And I think when we first did the deal, we had a rental appraisal at about $580 a week, and we've just rented the house out for $625 a week. Wow. So that's been great for that person, and we're almost at the point now we're going, okay, where's the next one? Yeah. We've one of our Matt and my clients has bought a property in Melbourne, and he hasn't even gone to site. He's just gone to site, and he's already made 70 grand because the market's sort of moving already in that part of Melbourne, and so he's already ahead of the game. And so that's hopefully what I can achieve for a client, because I'm following market trends and, you know, where the growth is, and with my conversations with builders and developers and real estate agents, that's what I'm following right now. And so hopefully, you know, these guys are off to a good start, and we can just keep building on that. And if anybody hears what I'm saying, then hopefully they can be part of that process.
Yeah, it's a great testimonial. I mean, 70 grand, 120 grand before it's even built. That's an amazing success story.
Yeah,
it's amazing. You have to have any like sort of tough conversations with any clients, like where you've got to be like, always. How do you deal with them? And because I know what it's like as an agent dealing with players, but for you it must be even harder, because not only you got to deal with the athlete, but I could take it sometimes you have to deal with the agents as well. Sometimes potentially. Yeah, look. Buying property and building houses, it's can be stressful, you know, because, you know, it's a financial commitment. It's a big financial commitment, and I've been doing this for a while, but someone's doing this for the first time, and so I'm very mindful of the fact that they are doing this for the first time, or they're not used to that process. So, you know, I've had clients who sometimes ring me every day. What about this? What about that? And no question is dumb. You know, I'm happy to answer any question. If I don't know the answer, I will find out the answer. So, and sometimes you've got to say to them, okay, you've done this wrong, or you've done this and you can't do that. Or so you've got to have those conversations. But that's all part of A, communication, and B, building that rapport as even more so, and trust with the client, because there's no point when you're building property, you can't fluff your way through it, because you're going to get caught out. Our job is to help them buy multiple properties. And if you have a bad time building one, then A, you're not going to get any more business from that client, and then they're going to tell other people about that process. Yeah. So it's not what we want in life. Yeah, it's not. Is there sort of, from an athlete's point of view, Matt, and I'll give you an example, a great success story, and it'd be interesting to see if you know of any as well in the Rugby League world or anywhere, but there was a player who's actually played in Australia called Robbie Fowler, and he used to play for Liverpool, and he was earning around £20,000 a week. This was going back 20 odd years ago, and he had a very savvy agent who'd been involved in the real estate world, and he told him to basically commit half of his salary every week into investing into properties. And I remember the conversations that were coming back for a family friend, that like all his parents were saying, oh, you're being scammed out of money, this is not right, blah, blah, blah. But I think Robbie was glad he listened, because he was investing in properties in a place called Salford in Manchester. And they had wind that the Commonwealth Games was going to be there in 2006. Yes. And I think he made about £300 million off his property sales, and that was all real estate. Mm. Is there any good ones that you have seen, good cases of, or you've heard about in the sporting world in Australia, where you know of someone who's done really well outside of the code? Well, I do know, I won't name names, but there's an ex-Bronco player who's been pretty savvy in buying real estate, both residential and commercial, and he owns all that property. He's never sold them, and he still is involved in the rugby league industry. But I don't think he really doesn't need to work. Yeah, to be serious. A good place to be. Yeah. But for you, Matt, what are you most excited about over the next 12 to 24 months as you move forward with Paul and into Merit Sports? Is there one thing in particular that you're looking forward to, or is it a mixture of everything? Yeah, obviously it's very exciting, mate, and looking forward to the mixture. But I think just getting out there and having these conversations and meeting different athletes, and I think just connecting with them first and understanding who they are and what their vision sort of looks like and where they want to be in life is probably most important, and to have those conversations. So I'm very excited about doing that, and meeting people from all walks of life and seeing how we can offer our support, and whether they come into Merit Sports and we continue that relationship, but just getting to
getting out there, meeting different people, is going to be, I'm very excited about.
It's exciting times.
It is. So it's, again, we're out there to be someone that's outside of the bubble, that to steer them in the right direction. That's what we're here to do, and it's, we're going to build some great relationships over the time, no doubt. It's just, again, very exciting to be here in the initial sort of start of it, because it's a long road ahead that I'm looking very much forward to.
I remember when I first met you guys, and I went home that night and I was chatting to my 16-year-old daughter, and I get so excited with things, and I'm like, I keep finding these people and meeting these people who keep finding like complaints in the complaints department, but those complaints in the complaints department are the things that can turn into $1 million business. But it's not about the money, it's about what you can do through making that money and how you can change people's lives. And I remember saying, like, Matt and Paul have unearthed a gem, and I've been saying this one for years. Yeah. I feel like they've robbed my idea, but I've got no background in real estate and I wasn't a professional athlete. Yeah. So I said I couldn't really go into it. I think for you, Paul, before we finish off, we've got a few minutes to go, but what's probably the one piece of financial advice you would give to any athlete who's starting out in a career, and maybe they've just signed a contract with the Broncos or with the Roar or whoever it may be? What would be the one piece of financial advice you give them?
Yeah, look, you go and sign a contract when you're a young player, and it's for some good money. It's about what you do with that money. It's all well and good when you're looking at your bank account going, I've made it.
Yeah.
But if you're 19 or 20, have you really made it? So my advice is, if you can, as a 19 or 20-year-old, like, think about when you're going to be 30 or 40, and where do you think you'll be in life? Because when you get to our age, we think about those sort of things, but they don't. And my key advice is that the younger generation, it would be great if they all were doing that, because then life for all those guys would be so much better in the long term. And you hear about guys who have done that, and they go, I'm so, Robbie Fowler, so glad that I did that because of that reason. Yeah, for sure.
Matt, for you, whether it's sports or business related, maybe one mistake that you've made over the years that probably you wish you didn't, but maybe it'd be great advice for an athlete or for someone going into business?
I wish I kept, I have 4 properties that I sold at the time and through my little journey. Purely that was just off me and the wife and our choice, and where we're at with life. Looking back, I wish I held on to them, but that's all right. It all ended up okay because of, we built our family home and on a bit of acreage out at Warner. So 3 beautiful kids and a lovely wife to support now. So it all ended up to that end goal of where I wanted to be, sort of at the back end of my career. But again, it's getting it early, actually thinking about what you want to do, because it does go very fast when you're in the bubble of a sport, surrounded by good people in that sport. But it's over, and once it's done, it's done. It's you're not going to be earning that money again. Maybe you will, and there's a small percentage that go on and stay in the sport, and commentators or involved with the game, or whether it's athletics or soccer or rugby league. There's a small percentage that do stay on and still earn good money, but a lot of the other ones sort of fade off, and life goes on. So definitely having that vision of what will life look like for me when I'm 30, 40 years old.
Yeah, amazing. Paul, just to finish with you, we'll do one more, but in regards to like money as well, I can imagine there's a lot of athletes watching this going, well, I don't earn $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a week. I'm only earning $1,000. Is this something for everyone, or have you got to be earning big money to be involved in this from your point of view?
No, not at all. I mean, once again, it comes back to understanding where everybody's individual capacity is, because some people might say, oh, I've got X amount of dollars in the bank, I'm ready, I've got a deposit, I'm ready to go. But they may not have the borrowing capacity to actually do something. So the first step that we always take with players or athletes, once we've built that rapport, is talking with a financial broker, whether it's ours or they've got their own, to understand what they can afford to borrow. And then we know if they can go to the next step, or if they're not ready yet, what is the roadmap to get to that level.
Yeah, brilliant. So if anyone wants to reach out to you guys, I'll obviously share all the information for all of our followers in the show notes. But if they wanted to reach out, how do they reach out to you? Is it Instagram, TikTok? Is it website? Or
Yeah, well,
TikTok. Are we on TikTok?
I don't know. What's TikTok? What's TikTok? Anyway, no. Well, the website obviously has both Matt and my mobile phone numbers and email addresses.
Amazing.
We've obviously got our Instagram account, which is Merit Sports AU. So that's the way to do it.
Amazing.
Reach out.
Yeah, a big thank you both of you for joining me today, and I think you're going to be getting hands up from a lot of people when they see this, because I think it's so crucial. And I think looking back now, some of the athletes I've worked with, I think if we had someone like you guys around 10, 15, 20 years ago, I think people would be living a lot better life and enjoying it. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks for having us on, mate.
So a big thank you guys for joining us. We're going to be back in 2 weeks' time with our next episode at the Raymond Wood Podcast. A big thank you. Remember to give me a follow and a like. Hi everyone, it's Raymond Wood at the Raymond Wood Podcast, and apologies, we've been missing for about 12 weeks. We've been very crazy, but over the next 6 weeks, we've got 14 podcasts locked in, so we're going to be going thick and fast. Now today, I've got with me Matt Gillette. Matt, how are you, mate?
Ray, how are you, mate?
Very good, mate, very good. So thanks for joining us. So obviously there's probably a few people on here going, wait there, wrong code, different sport.
Yeah. Played soccer at a young age.
But how's life treating you at the moment, mate? You busy?
Yes, mate. Pretty busy with getting older and building a family, 3 kids. So all their extra activities outside of school hours, very busy.
Yeah.
She throw work on there and a few other commitments that I've put myself into. So life's busy, but I'd rather have it that way than sitting around and thinking about what I've got to do every day.
What age are the kids, Matt?
The daughter turns 11 this year. My little fella will turn 9, and our youngest daughter just turned 2. So bit of a gap there with number 3 coming along, but lucky the older daughter's like a little mother too, so pressure's off me.
That's so good. We've done that. I have my girls are 17 and 11, so she's like the big adopted mum, which is great. Like, and it's
just takes that little bit of the load off.
Instant babysitter.
Yeah. In the shower, pretty confident almost to leave the eldest there for maybe the wife and I can go out and grab a feed down the local pub there and get home, but it's great having the kids, mate. It's no better feeling in the world than having your own, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now we're going to, obviously, I'm a big fan of all sports, and growing up in Liverpool, we just spoke off here a little bit, like 2 of the closest teams to us was St Helens and Wigan. And I spent a lot of time working in a place called Skelmersdale and Wigan when I was younger. And the rivalry of rugby league between them towns was just unbelievable. And then down the road, 15 minutes, you got the rivalry between Liverpool and Everton in football. So we always wanted you to get you on. I'm so happy to get you on and talk a little bit about rugby league, football, but also what you're doing currently at the moment. But one of the first things I want to do is if we can roll right back to the early days, if we can remember that far back. What's your first memory of rugby league, and what was it?
Mate, like I just mentioned before, I was playing soccer at Bribie Island, which is about an hour from here, where we are. Signed up there, played there till I was 11. So we had a bit of a mixed team playing soccer. I was just there with my mates, as we do. We want to be around our mates and have fun and enjoy a sport. So at a young age, it was soccer for me, and I really enjoyed it. And come to under 11s, and I was still playing soccer. So I played do the old soccer on the Saturday, footy on Sunday. Could be the reverse way around, but eventually transitioned over to rugby league full time in under 12s. Back then we were no boots, so it was all barefoot, running around the paddock. So that was pretty cool, coming from soccer where we sort of wore boots, and then rugby league you was still barefoot. So it was pretty crazy. Kicking off sand, so there was no tees, no markers that you were kicking off. Old school training with mums and dads putting their hands up to be coaches. So good times. But yeah, just again, the reason I went over to rugby league was because my mates were all over there, and I felt like I was missing out on something. So went over there and played a lot of rugby league at Bribie Island. I've still got mates from those days, which is very important. And one of the boys Dane Hogan, that I played soccer with, he was a year younger than me. We both went over to footy at the same time. He had to stay in that lower grade, and I was a year above him, but he ended up playing first grade as well through the Cowboys and Dragons here in Australia. So pretty cool story. We used to hang out as kids, and then sort of the same sort of pathway into rugby league.
It's amazing. So do you think actually some of the foundations you learned in soccer actually helped you going into rugby league?
Yeah, mate, I think it does. I can see it. My little fella at the moment is a bit uncoordinated, a bit of a bigger boy out there on the soccer field. But you know, that coordination and especially with your footwork, it's quite important, not just for rugby league but soccer. To be agile and be able to adjust quite quickly. So if you ever see me run on a footy field, it doesn't look pretty. It's a bit unco, but you definitely, I think, any sport, soccer, tennis, whatever that is, if you pick up something little from every different sport, it's going to help you, reach your goal one day and, maybe playing professionally or just being the best you can. You pick up skills from all different sports, I believe.
When you transitioned across into footy with your friends and you started to realise it was going to be footy you were going to be playing, did you have an idol that you looked up to? Was there someone who really stood out to you as you started getting more into it?
I know actually our family we followed St George, the Dragons. So growing up into that, so my pop, his brother was like a trainer, gear steward for the Dragons. So our family, me growing up, and I just followed mum and dad's footsteps and supported them. And Trent Barrett was one of my players that I looked up to. So he played a bit of 5'8", a bit of lock, so he was forward slash. So dominant 5'8", but sometimes fielded and played lock. So and he's now coaching at the Brisbane Broncos as an assistant coach. So it was pretty cool to watch him play. I like the style of footy he played. He's a bit of a ball runner with that 5'8" position, a key role with moving the team around. But his strength was definitely running the ball, and he's a bit of a bigger body as well. So having him there, and I was very lucky when in my first year into the NRL playing the Broncos, I got Rookie of the Year in the competition, and Trent Barrett, he presented me the award on stage. So it was, obviously I'm not sure if that happened on purpose or they knew that he was my favourite as a kid, but it was pretty special to get up there and get presented by Trent with that award.
Yeah, it's funny, really interesting you were saying about like the transition between the sports and especially how the kicking can help. And I can remember I was living in and working, very fortunate to work in Hawaii. And I was there with a couple of other coaches from the UK. We were there for a couple of years. And we had a goalkeeper with us. And I'll never forget him, Louis. And he was working at Chelsea at the time. And he actually got offered a position, a full scholarship to play American football, just based on his kicking.
The pundit, yeah, nice.
Because we literally challenged these boys who were on NCAA 1 scholarships to a kicking competition. And we beat the three of them, and the two coaches from England. But one of the guys was a goalkeeper. He was just striking it through every time. And it was funny, my first time moving to Australia, I think it was 2006, and it was watching the Broncos and Darren Lockyer. And when he just used to let that ball out of his hands and he'd just kick it straight through, and he'd always find a space in between the lines.
Won the premiership that year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And I can remember thinking that's exactly like a football or a soccer player, just kicking it between the left back and the centre back. And it was ironic, I found that he played a little bit of soccer as well when he was younger as well. So it sort of bodes well. I think that crossover with the sports definitely helps.
Yeah, it does, mate. Obviously, you mentioned those key positions like Darren Lockyer. I was fortunate enough to play with him just before he retired, and I was starting my journey. But he was one player that could turn a game with his kicking game. It would have been the right spots, the kick chase, the rest of it comes off the back. But under pressure, he would put that ball where it needs to be every time. And like you said, repetition as a kid, playing soccer, and then just out in the paddock, kicking it over time and time, just knowing your game and what works for you. So Lockie was definitely the ones that you wanted his hands on the ball on fifth and last, or when it's time to kick, and you just react to what he'd done.
It's funny, for you'll know this as well, but we've done a huge study in the UK for the Premier League and the FA, and it kicked off in around 2010, and to date the project spent like £1.9 billion, and what we discovered was we were looking for the secret sauce, and we done a bit of an exploration on David Beckham, and jokes aside, everyone said he was only talented because he was good looking and he married the Spice Girl.
That helps.
Yeah, it definitely helped. But what we discovered with him was he was world class undoubtedly, but he was world class because he was really good at one thing, and that exact same thing, he just practiced repetition, taking free kicks and crossing the ball. And it showed us that if you just prepared to work on one thing and be really good at it, that's sometimes enough to make it as a player in any sport, really.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's this day and age, and all the opportunities that our kids do have, and all the access to coaching, online coaching, The rest, they can just sit there and watch and understand what it does take to get to that level. And like you said, mate, it's just repetition. You've got an hour of training session with your coach a week or 2 times a week, and whatever your sessions are, it's about what you're doing after those hours or before those hours to better yourself as a player. And because, like I just said, mate, every kid's out there, they're doing the extras, they're doing everything. So what's going to separate you from them? Yeah. And that's just that repetition. That's just doing it. So when game day does come, or there's scouts, or there's someone's watching you, you've done it. You've done that kick, that tackle, whatever it is. You've done that 1,000 times. So you calm out in the footy field and just let it go. So that's all comes back to that repetition and practice, no doubt.
Practice. Now, think back to when you got that first call up from the Broncos. Can you remember the day, and how did it make you feel when did you believe it?
Mate, I had a little bit of a up and down journey to get to debuting in 2010. I was part of the under-20s group when it first came out, so the national youth competition in 2008. I was playing at Brisbane Western District Panthers in Brizzy. I got an opportunity halfway through the year to play with the Broncos under-20s. I played about 5 games for them, 6 games. We'll come into the finals with the Broncos, and we're going pretty well. We're sitting at the top of the table. I was just playing off the bench, playing a bit of a forward role off the bench. At the same time, West had made the grand final and I was starting Broncos finals. So I decided to go back and play at Western District Panthers just to show I did my pre-season, all my training with them. Yeah. So I decided to go back to them and play in the grand final and give sort of that Broncos opportunity away. Weren't too many people happy in my corner, mate. Mum was okay with it. Dad, that phone call was quite hard. I was in tears and felt like I'd let him down. And as we all do as parents, are the sacrifices that we do for our kids to get them to where they are and the belief that they instill in you. So Dad was very disappointed in my decision. My player manager at the time didn't have any idea what I was doing. The coach, Anthony Griffin, who has coached first grade now for a few different clubs, couldn't get his head around why I was going back to there. But for me, it was just about going back. I'd done the pre-season, the hard yards with them. I wouldn't have been playing 20s with the Broncos without them. So staying loyal, went back and played with them. We won the grand final for West. Broncos went on and played Canberra in the GF that same year, and they went down in a close match. The following year is when I went to North Devils, the Queensland Cup side. Yeah. But still there, mate, I was a bit iffy on what I was doing with my footy, and I didn't rock up to pre-season until after Christmas. We all know how hard pre-seasons are before the Chrissy break. So I didn't rock up. I started in reserve grade through training, and then I ended up playing Queensland Cup that year at North. I played a bit of lock, bit of 5'8" at the time, and then Ivan Henjak was the coach of the Brisbane Broncos at the time, and so this is in 2009. He came to me halfway through the year and sat down with me and said, "We're going to look to put you a bit of a training trial in the 2009-2010 pre-season. Let's see how you go." And I was like, "All right." I did this with the 20s, so now it's my time to get in there, knuckle down. After that conversation, that's definitely something that I wanted to do is give it a crack anyway and see how I go. And I did, mate. My pre-season in 2009-2010, I put on about 10 kilos. Did the right things, discipline with eating the right foods, training hard. Leaning on the senior players at the Brisbane Broncos, and you see them Fridays, Justin Hodges, Corey Parker's there, Petro Sevenasiva, Darren Lockout. You've got all those boys you're looking up to coming into a squad. So trained my ass off, put the weight on, did everything right. They were happy with me. Did all the 3 trials leading into round 1, and then trial well, and then team gets announced in the meeting room, and I was there on the bench. So pretty unreal feeling to. I get my goosebumps now. When the boys play, they play Sunday. It might run out. But yeah, unreal feeling to all that hard work and the sacrifice you do to get to where you want to be is unreal. And just to make the phone calls to the family. I've been part of the time we weren't married, but it goes a long way. And just to get that jersey, pull that jersey on for the first time. I was lucky enough, we played the Cowboys, so a local derby, Suncorp Stadium, round 1 on a Friday night. You can't get any better than that. In the debut match, and it was unreal. Packed house as it is when we do play the Cowboys, and I was lucky enough we won the game, and I got to score a try and debut as well. But to run out and see the family in the crowd, and it's an unreal feeling. So it all kicked off from there, mate.
I think I was at that game.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. I took a lot of stick because anyone who knows me, I'm a 100% football soccer guy.
Yeah.
I've never ever watched or participated or even shown any interest in any other code. And growing up as a kid, I had a mate in school who was obsessed with St. Helens.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, we all thought you were odd if you followed like rugby league in Liverpool because it's just a football soccer city. But moving here, like, even like my brother was having a go at me, and he's like, why am I seeing you at like rugby league games watching this team called the Broncos? I said, because basically it's actually really good to watch. I said, and I actually think from my coaching background, I think we're seeing probably one of the greatest teams you're ever going to see. I said that it was unbelievable. I said, and also, no disrespect to the A-League, but it's not that great.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, and it's hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that was my Friday, and I used to love the Friday nights going to Suncorp to watch them games.
You can't beat it, mate. A full house at Suncorp Stadium with the group.
So, what was your biggest shock though stepping into first grade? Because I've seen it before where players in football really struggle with certain things. What was the one big thing that shocked you and took you back and thought, oh, I've got to really, put a bit in with this, or something that really shocked you just in general? The difference stepping up to that first grade was something that really stood out?
For me, mate, pretty sort of relaxed bloke and pretty cruisy. So I think just once you sort of get around the players that you've sat and watched for a number of years before you're on the big screen, and you don't really know them as people, and coming in there you're a bit, standing on eggshells and sort of not knowing where you sort of sit within that team and stuff. But the more you sit down, have those conversations with those senior players in the team, and it's pretty again, you're a bloke playing rugby league, and they're all doing the same thing. They're human. They have those conversations, same interests as you as well. So once I sort of build some connections there with the boys amongst that group, it sort of levels you out a little bit. And but mate, just the hours of training. You see the 80-minute performance on a footy field. Sometimes you go in extra time, but the amount of hours that you're training, you're eating, the food prep, the sponsorship stuff, the commitments you've got to do outside of rugby league. It's quite full on you. That you're within that group. You're at the Broncos more than you are at home with the family. So it's quite the big commitment. But again, for me, it's getting to that stage. That's a privilege to be in that position and to give back to people that love the game and just want to be around and see Broncos and see their heroes and the people they look up to. It's quite special. And regardless if I would have made first grade, I would have been playing local league somewhere and pulling on a jersey. I was just very fortunate to get my opportunity and work hard at it. And I think that's something that kids and if they want something, if they really want it, they're going to have to work hard, because like I mentioned before, everyone else is out there doing it. So work ethic is going to get you across the line by the end of the day.
All day.
There's so many players out there now that have come through. They're not most talented, and we see it in every sport. You get those talented kids that make every team, and by the time it comes time for them to work hard in a full-time system, they sort of fizzle out. And the ones that aren't talented, that really want it and work hard, they're the ones that usually go through. So that work ethic, I definitely, coming into the squad, that's something that I work pretty hard on. And the pre-season is very tough. So getting up, like I said, I had to put some weight on, so I couldn't miss an opportunity to put food in my mouth. So I was eating. As I wake up, I'd eat, even though I know I'm going to get smashed in fitness that morning. I'd have to put something in the body, otherwise I'd fall behind maybe a kilo or two. So putting the food in the body and then going training, having food straight after, it was just I'm glad I did it, mate, because it's a hell of a journey and something I love. So it's unreal to do that, and say that I've pulled on the jersey for the Brisbane Broncos is unreal.
Now, talking about those senior players, and I'm sure when you were younger and you first went in, obviously there was probably many who helped you along the way, but is there one senior player who really took you under the wing at the time and give you some useful pieces of information, or really just looked after you in general?
I think there's a few there that really, had those conversations to me, I suppose, those more one-on-ones, which Sam Thaiday, we also know the character that he is on and off the field. He's one that, that sort of sat me down and had those little conversations about not necessarily on the footy field, about the footy, I suppose more performances. He did pull me along a few times and let me know that I wasn't, playing up to my potential or my standard, which is what you want from your senior players. You need that effort, that bit of feedback from them to, pump you up a bit and get you going. But just the conversations around who the Broncos are, what we stand for, and our past is pretty important. So, learning about how to do the right things off the footy field was obviously going to help you perform on the footy field as well. And between Sam and Petro Sevenasiva, he's Petro's the nicest man in rugby league, and anyone you talk to, there's not a nicer man out there than him. And just to watch him go about his day-to-day business, whether we'd finish a training session and he makes sure we go right around the field, and if there's 1,000 fans there, he's there until he does his job. And those little things, but they mean so much to a fan or someone that's travelled an hour and a half to come just watch training and get a signature or a photo with you. So learning off those boys was definitely something that I tried to follow in their footsteps. And again, all the coaches and the access to be a better football player through your coaches at the time, but that senior leader playing group is definitely something you need to buy into what they're doing and feed off them. That's for sure.
I think it's like a great example. You're saying like there's many qualities of a leader, but one of the things I'm noticing is disappearing out the game in soccer, but also I'm seeing it in a lot of sports now is things like that, going around and acknowledging the people who've been there watching and might have drove an hour and a half. And like, I won't name names, but we do football tours with the kids of Australia over to the UK once or twice a year, and we took them to watch a women's game in the Premier League, and there's about 100 of us. We've got Aussie flags, scarves, kangaroos, everything there, and this particular player just completely walks past and doesn't acknowledge one of the girls that we had with us in the group, and we're like, wow, like this is
it's
poor.
It is. It's it's like a couple of minutes out of your time to make someone's.
And these kids are flown all the way around the world.
A highlight of their lives, just to go out, get the photo, show their family, show their friends. Look who I met. Look, I've got a signature or whatever it is. It's an easy thing to do when you're winning and everything's going well, and you're feeling good about how life is, and everyone's usually generally happy to do that. I'm not saying I was perfect with doing it all, but when the crowd, little kids come and watch you and support you, it's been raining all game, sitting there drenched in a poncho. All they want to do is touch you or get a photo with you. Just that little minute or two just to go over and go, thank you for coming. And you're not going to get to everyone. We all understand that, but at least to showing that you're thankful for them showing up.
Yeah. Now, Premierships, Origin, Kangaroos, which is the one moment, the one game that give you the best goosebumps, and why?
Well, I wasn't lucky enough to win the Premiership. We were very close. In 2015, we played the North Queensland Cowboys. So two Queensland teams playing a grand final down in Sydney. That was a unreal experience that year. Wayne Bennett had come back to us. He's back in Brisbane coaching after his Newcastle Knights stint. He came back to us in 2015, and that season was nothing could really go wrong for us. Everything gelled. Had a great time on the field, and we were just connected, so well connected on the field. We just knew each other's game. A lot of trust within that group, obviously, there to get to a GF. So we're about 5 seconds away from winning the GF, and North Queensland pulled a magic trick out of their bums, and scored in the corner. JT misses the goal from the sideline to win it, and it goes to extra time. We dropped the ball off the kick-off. They kicked the field goal to win it. So that ring was almost on their finger. It was like that, and then just got taken away. But that's rugby league, mate. It's probably that would have really topped off my career on a personal note to win a premiership, but it wasn't to be. But it's 10 years ago now, mate. As time fly, and
crazy, eh?
We've been to a couple more, and we've lost. The Broncos have lost as well in close games. So hopefully that premiership's coming back this year, and or soon enough. But I think, mate, Origin for me definitely stands out. I was lucky to represent the Kangaroos, Australia, 12 times, and we travelled England in 2016. It was in the Four Nations. We won that one over there against New Zealand. had a great time on tour, and then 2017 we had the World Cup back here in Australia, and the same thing, right? We travelled obviously in Australia, so we games up down in Melbourne, up in Darwin, and we had the final against England, and we beat them on the home turf, and it was a close, very, very close match. So again, very unreal experience to be a part of that tour and win a World Cup on our home soil. Is pretty special. But yeah, definitely for me, representing Queensland, I think just the build up and the rivalry between the two states is unreal, and you would have been there. You probably would have sat there and watched there. And at Suncorp Stadium, so I debuted in 2012 for Queensland. Debuted down in Melbourne actually, so at the neutral ground at Etihad Stadium, was the closed-in stadium down there. So got to debut down there. Big Petro Civoniceva presented me with my debut jersey the day before in the captain's run. So again, another really special moment there. He's one of the best front rowers that ever wore that jersey as well. So to get that, we won the game one. Game two was in Sydney, and we lost that one. So it was a decider back in Brisbane. Suncorp Stadium, full house. Our fans are crazy. They love it. They travel from everywhere to run out that night. It was probably a bit like soccer, and when you play, when you're getting ready in that dressing room, it's pretty quiet, calm. Everyone's going about their business, their own preparations, what works for them. Some are having a joke, some are full serious with the headphones on, just going about their individual preparation for the game. It's pretty quiet within the dressing rooms. Get the warm-up done, things ramp up, we're ready to go. Cam Smith has his last few words to us, looking everyone in the eyes, everyone's buying in, the emotions are starting to rise. Getting that team huddle break, and then we run out onto Suncorp Stadium. They open the doors and you can just sort of hear that little bit of rumble, that little bit of noise, and then obviously Smitty goes out first and we all follow. And mate, it's just, I'm getting goosebumps again now thinking about it. It's the best feeling in rugby league I've had, I think, running out there, packed house, sea of maroon everywhere. Our fans are the best fans in the world for rugby league. That's without a doubt. They travel so far. To run out there, hear that roar and just have a look around and embrace that was, unreal. And then after that, you've also run out, and then we line up arm in arm and we sing that national anthem. And again, just to see the family, you've got to try and find them a little bit. You sort of know where they are in the crowd. So just to see them start singing that national anthem, I used to get tears in the eyes. It was just that emotion of obviously a big game on the big stage, but just to see your family there supporting you, especially when the kids come along, it's so enjoyable to be there. Rugby league and playing for Queensland, it's not just about you. It's about the state. It's about who you're playing for. It's about sending those kids home happy. They can go back to school happy, enjoy it. It's that's what they live for, mate. So yes, it's a personal goal to get there and achieve, but to go out and represent Queensland and do it for the fans, your family, the sacrifices they do for you. And the game was a very close game itself. Cooper Cronk, the man he is, steps up and kicks a field goal. I was on the bench at that time. I've already had done my stint, so sitting on the bench and watching him go about his business, nails the field goal, runs back like he does it every day, gets set up, we end up winning the game. Mate, it's unreal feeling, and that's something you don't want to let go of, that feeling. Once you pull on that Maroons jersey, those feelings, those moments is something you want to be a part of. And get me wrong, we enjoy our time off the field and our bonding sessions and at the start of every camp, and that's what it's about, mate. So, that mateship that you build at the start of camp and when all the new players and fresh faces come in, it's about building those connections and the rewards off the back of that, of winning Origin series like that one with extra by a point and field goal. Unreal.
It's unreal, It was funny, I've been to a lot of different games. I've been in Australia for 18 years now, on and off, and I've been to Union, I've been to AFL, and I've been to obviously Rugby League, and it's and then everyone used to say, what's the atmosphere like at the games? And as I say, it's good. Some of the games are good, more so NRL's pretty good, but comparing it to football and England soccer, it's a million miles away. But then I then got the first invitation to a State of Origin game, and I didn't quite understand what it was, because it seemed like really alien to me, like Queensland playing New South Wales, but it's only a 2-team competition. But then I went to the first game with the Suncorp. I was like, oh my God, I need to come to this every year. This is like going to a Premier League game in England. It's like, the atmosphere was unbelievable.
It is unreal, mate. It's I still go now. I still watch the boys and get there with the family and sitting on the other side of the fence to watch it, because before I played, I never went to a State of Origin match. So now sitting on the other side of the fence and enjoying it, I'll just turn into a fan and ride the highs and lows of the team themselves. But it's you can't, especially at Suncorp Stadium, you can't beat that atmosphere. That's for sure. So if you get a chance, anyone get there and
get there.
Game on this year, so it should be a cracker.
Now we're gonna just go to a little short break, and then when we come back, we're gonna just speak a little bit about legacy and transition, and then a little bit about what Matt's up to. So guys, just watch this advert break, and we'll be back with you in the next 20 seconds.
Welcome to the Professional Player Pathway. If you've got a dream yourself or a dream for your child, and you're going to move heaven and earth to make it happen, this pathway is a way for young football players like you to hone your skills and get your chance in Europe. Because talent is everywhere, but Europe is where football stars are made. So it's our job to get you there. But here's the kicker. Getting to the UK or Spain for academy trials isn't enough. You need to be good enough to get signed. Which is why our program focuses on the complete footballer: skills, mindset, nutrition, and education. We prep you not just to be as good as the English and Spanish kids, but better. In our sessions, we're going to cover a lot of ground. What exactly is the Professional Player Pathway program? How does it improve your game? What it actually takes to become a professional footballer? Who we are partnered with? And the most important is our success stories so far. Will you be next? Register below or contact us.
Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed the ad break. So we're back with Matt again, and we're just going to finish off a little bit about legacy and transition, and a little bit about what you're up to at the moment, Matt. So when did you know, when you were getting to the end of the career, when did it first hit you when you knew probably should be time to hang up the boots and move on to pastures new?
Well, for me, mate, I was medically retired due to a shoulder injury, so I still had another 3 years to run on my contract.
Yeah.
So 2019. So in 2018, I had a pretty serious injury. I fractured my neck, my C4. So just from a crusher tackle that happened in a game. So it was just a chin to chest action with a bit of someone's body was on there. So, mate, I ended up playing another 4 games with the fracture of my neck, not knowing. It sounds a lot worse, and I should maybe have been in a bit more pain, but I sort of got through it and thought it was just a bit nervy because it was pretty dominant down the left-hand sort of side of my arm and neck. End up playing, another 4 games, not knowing, and it just wasn't getting right. My players, the coaches said, mate, what's going on? You're not usually yourself. And I love the contact of rugby league, so I was shying away from that, which is probably a good indication that things weren't right. End up investigating further. There was scans and whatnot, and they found the fracture on the C4 on the front left-hand side, and I had a couple of hairline ones on the back. So very shocking to hear that. And when I got the results, and they come out and they try to put a neck brace on me. I was just like, what? I've been playing, I played 4 games with this injury, and so I brought the neck brace off and drove home, and it wasn't until the next day I had to go see the surgeons to see if I had to get surgery on the neck or whatnot. So I was pretty scared. At that time, I had the 2 older kids were in our lives, so the questions run through your head. Yeah. Am I going to be able to play footy again? What's his surgery look like? Yeah. Am I going to be able to throw my kids in the air? Be an active dad, be around them. So I was pretty scared. There was a few tears that night, hopping in the shower, and obviously thinking the worst case scenario, as we do, and build ourselves up with the unknown. But appointment was that next morning, and straight away he cleared the air. Said you won't need surgery. It's just a normal fracture. Just got to let time heal. So I missed all of 2018. Got in there and just did just did weights and cardio in the gym, and come back and made my return in 2019, and I got through the season, got back and represented Queensland 2 times that year. Missed the third one through a groin injury. Got to later that year and injured the shoulder again late in one of our later games, and I already had 2 shoulder reconstructions on my right shoulder, so I just thought, oh, maybe it's just another Rico, go in and see the doctors. And so I got probably the bad news of, mate, there's not much we can do for your shoulders from 2 of the doctors. So again, I was upset, a bit of an emotional person, but you know, mentally you just want to keep playing, right? So you just want to keep going out there and think you can, but the time had come to an end where I had to hang up the boots and think about life after footy again and where I want to be. So retired at the end of 2019 due to the injury. So medically retired, so it just gave me an opportunity to work within the club at the Brisbane Broncos, which is another great opportunity to life after footy, where they're very good at keeping their players on. They have done a great job for them on the paddock, but also transition as well. So yeah, very fortunate. But it all comes to an end, and mate, I'm very happy where I am now with healthy kids and a wife and a job and everything else that comes forward. So what happened to me with a shoulder injury? Yep, a very little thing in the scheme of things when you have a look what's going on in this world.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose what was to follow on from there was COVID as well, wasn't it? So you probably would have been...
At the right time, mate.
Yeah, so probably a good time. And
yeah.
You get a good payoff.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. All, mate, medically retire these days, they honour your contract. And
that's amazing.
They just have to work it out through the NRL and the Broncos to, get paid out, and which is great. And then, that money comes off the salary cap as well, so it frees up a bit of space to... Obviously, a player's gone, so you need to replace them. So didn't want to do it, but life goes on, mate, and I'm looking now. I'm just a supporter.
Yeah. Now, looking back to finish off on that little part of your whole career, when you think back, how do you hope that maybe your teammates or fans remember you by, and what's the one thing that you want to be remembered by from your playing career?
Well, just knowing if they look over to me that I'm there, I'm going to show up for them that night, and that's the way I sort of played my rugby league. For them to look over to me Matty's here. Matty, I'm nicknamed Gillo, so Gillo's he's on tonight. I can count on him to do his job. I can trust him to do his job. That's not just showing it on the footy field. It's also showing it training, doing the extras. If you don't get something quite right, are you working hard behind the scenes to make that right?
Yeah.
Are you eating the right foods for your skin folds to be down and putting the right weight on? All those little things, have that roll on to game day and that performance on the footy field. So for me, it was about doing my part on the footy field to do my part to make my teammates better. Doing those little things, those 1%, we call. I was pride myself on showing up for my mates and doing that on a day-to-day basis off the field, but on the field is where it's shown. So yeah, definitely a bloke that shows up and gives the all every game, even though it might not be the best on game day. You might get some things wrong, but definitely just showing up for your mate is a big thing.
It's a big thing. Now, we've got a couple of minutes to go before we wrap up, but before we do, obviously I first met you for the first time personally a couple of months ago through Paul Merritt, and I just want to touch on a little bit and give you guys a little bit of a pump up of what you've got going on, because I've looked across it and it seems very special what you've got planned. So could you just walk everyone through who's watching and listen a little bit, like what you're doing with your current projects, what you're doing for full-time work, and what you love doing at the moment as well?
Yeah, so full-time at the moment, I'm working for former Origin greats, FOGS. We're a non-for-profit organisation just here in Milton as well. So the idea that FOGS come about back in the day when the Origin started in 1980. The boys that put on the maroon jersey, after they sort of got out of that arena, they struggled to get a ticket to go watch the game. So they've put their body through a hell of a lot for people to enjoy and on the big screen, and they struggled to get a ticket to go to the game. So FOGS was formed, and now it's there, and we've got sort of 4 pillars that we work on. The ARTI Academy, which is Indigenous mentoring through primary and high schools, and attached to the high schools, a driving licensing program as well. ARTI Academy is named after our FOG #1, Arthur Beetson, the first Indigenous captain in any sport in Australia. So That was his vision for making sure the Indigenous kids are rocking up to school. It's an incentive-based, attendance-based program, so above 90% you get a incentive of like an Artie hoodie or some tickets to the games and things like that. So just to get kids to rock up to school, get through to year 12 and maybe come out with a driving license as well, to give themselves the best chance at the world, at getting a job. So that was Artie's vision for those kids, just to come to school, do the right thing, rock up. School's not for everyone, we understand that, but just give yourselves the best opportunity. So that was Artie's vision for his people, and that still sticks around, even though he's not with us now. So that's sort of the one pillar of that. Other three pillars, we support Junior Rugby League. We raise money for various charities through our events, and we donate back to the FOG members, with not directly back to them, maybe a family member that's some illness or some charity work that attaches to them. And we also support the State of Origin series through some financial commitments outside of it. So that's sort of my full-time role there with the FOG. So I do a bit of ambassador work for the Brisbane Broncos on game days through the corporate arena, and also just come on this year